All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Market Close. It is Tuesday, July 21st. We are here, and we are live. Dude, I had to go late. If I'm in the chat at 3:44 and I say I'm not going to be late, I had to wait until 3:46. Like, it wouldn't have been funny if I was on time at 3:45, even though I was sitting, for the first time in a long time, I was sitting here today ready to go live. Like, if I typed in that I'm going to be on time, it's only going to be funny if I'm not on time. But we're here. We're live. I did press play at 3:45, but the 15-second countdown. So technically I was on time, but whatever. Anyway, we've got a lot to talk about, a lot to get into. This is the first day in a long time that the macro has been consistent with the semiconductor names as they've been able to hold on. So Micron and NBIS, I would say, are your winners today. I mean, there's a lot of other names that are doing well, but Micron in particular, along with NBIS, really holding up some strong momentum. NBIS is having a 17% day. Kind of crazy considering the stock was at 160 last Thursday. Micron is having a $108 day. It has added basically $113 billion of market cap right here. 973 is that's up 12.5%. There was a bit of a dip about an hour ago where these names kind of went down from the levels that they were really pushing, but they've started to come right back up. SanDisk 13%. That is green on the day. Rocket Lab 69.15, trying to get back up to 70. That's up 5%. Klarna did have a 7% day. Then it kind of got taken down after that Apple partnership fizzled out. Still have the partnership, but I think the street kind of realized there might not be a lot of excitement there. So that's why that stock is barely up today. But Robinhood, 7%. Meta, kind of flat. SpaceX was actually having a great day up to 130. It's right back down to 123. So it's an example of some of the high beta momentum dying out towards the end of the day. But the high beta momentum for the semis has been really good. DigitalOcean, this is up 14% on the day based on GPU rental prices continuing to increase. On-demand GPU pricing in particular continues to go higher, and DigitalOcean has said that they're up 30% in the past month. So that, along with those earnings, were incredible. AEHR, really good earnings last week. That's up another 27% after being up 50% last week and then going down 30%. Your Photonics names, Lumentum 9%, Coherent 11%, Credo 4%. Once again, I think it reinforces the thesis as we have Ibkr earnings and we have Capital One earnings. We'll also have Technical Tuesday, that these names move together. And the reason the software names like a Palantir, a ServiceNow, a Salesforce, Adobe are all red today is because, once again, the semis move up, the software names move down. I mean, pretty much every semiconductor name is green. They're not as green as they were in the morning. I mean, some of these names are at those levels. Other names are not. Look at TSM, though, 424. This was at 380 last week. Some of them made some really big moves. NVIDIA, up 2%, nothing crazy, but it's nice to see this not below 200. Unfortunately, that means the SAS names and the Mag 7 names have to go down. So here's the question for everybody today, and also put in the chat if you bought into strength or sold into strength. I'm actually more curious if people sold into strength on any of the dips that you may have bought over the past couple of days. RF Andy says, are we back? This is the single best trading day I've had. I would imagine the trading momentum today for people who are long was really good. For people who are short, not that good, but obviously the longs finally had some direction and had some trajectory of contextual patterns that were following what they needed to follow throughout the entire day. So you didn't get rug pulled in the middle of the day, and your longs actually were able to survive. The interesting question I have for everybody is, now that people have experienced, and I asked this on Twitter a couple hours ago, the volatility of the downside by being either levered up or being a majority in semis and high beta, you're getting some relief today. A lot of these names still down 30 to 35% from their all-time highs. But do you think that means people are going to lean in to the high beta momentum now that it's theoretically back? Or, as AAOI, a poster child of this momentum, right? This thing was 250, fell to 80. Now it's back at 119. Or do you think people are going to go into the boring software and Mag 7 names because they've kind of had enough of that volatility? And it's like, you know what? I'd rather just buy Meta and Microsoft. I'm not going to outperform, but I don't care because I don't want the downside, which we just experienced. Now, is this a dead cat bounce? Is this the official bottom? Microsoft that was down on the day. I don't think anyone knows. I think we need at least another few days of data to confirm that the bottom was last week. And, this is not just like a relief rally that ends up getting rejected in the next few days. But I wonder, S&P 500 up 1%, a couple of people that responded on Twitter, they were like, dude, I'm done. Like, I've had my fun with the volatility. This is too much. And I'm taking some profits and I'm getting into some safer stuff. And then you have other people saying, nope, the semi story is going to continue. This train is not slowing down. We are compute constrained. And these names have to go higher. And so I think there is a little bit of a bifurcation in terms of the attitude from a variety of different market participants. Obviously, the semi-longs are winning today, which is at the detriment of everything else. But that's also been where most of the leverage and exposure has been. And so a lot of people are making a lot of money today. Gavin Baker made some headlines here as he was quoting the information that NVIDIA will be able to make 1,000 rare Rubin racks per day, which is $630 billion a quarter. It's actually, he said, a little hard for me to believe, and I haven't checked the math, but it's amazing if it's true. A Vera CPU rack and Grok LPU racks would be incremental to this, as would their new business model where they take a revenue share of NeoCloud revenue in return for guaranteeing offtake. This is why I think, if you didn't watch the market open today, we talked about this theory that Wolf Research has about why NVIDIA is buying up all this dark fiber. If NVIDIA actually has the capacity to be able to generate $630 billion per quarter by making 1,000 Vera Rubin racks per day, they need the GPU data center infrastructure to be set up, which is why they're buying theoretically all this dark fiber in order to get those GPUs to be sold. Because if you don't have the infrastructure to sell them into, you just have a ton of supply, or you have a ton of demand, but you don't have the supply that's ready to be able to get that demand to come online. And so it's kind of unbelievable because, right now NVIDIA is not even expected to do $630 billion of revenue this year. So if they were able to do that per quarter, that's $2.5 trillion a year of revenue, which obviously would make $5 trillion market cap look cheap. But you would imagine that all of the semi names would participate in that momentum if that does happen. And so it's one of those reports that I also think has got the street a little bit more optimistic on, once again, the future growth prospects of many of these semi names. Google was down on the day. They've got earnings tomorrow. They are spending the CapEx, so they go down. Same thing with Microsoft. Same thing with Meta, even though Meta has been getting more into the compute side of the business when it comes to semis, but the street has not fully cared. That is bullish for Ciena. That is bullish for Nokia. That is bullish for Nebius in particular. It's bullish for all the neo clouds, Nebius and CoreWeave in particular, because NVIDIA has a good relationship with them. I'll put up a tweet later today or tomorrow kind of explaining this this dark fiber theory, but I was reading more into it today and it makes a lot of sense. Now, we don't officially know if that's the reason why NVIDIA is buying up all this dark fiber, but if it is, it just means they see an unprecedented level of demand and they want to start cutting into some of the hyperscaler cloud compute margins because the hyperscalers are cutting into their chip margins because they're building their own ASICs. And so logically, from a business perspective, it makes sense. They have all the cash in the world. The question is, can they fully execute on that? Meta right there, 646 is that's flat on the day. SpaceX up about 2.5%. I see some people saying they sold into strength. A few people saying they sold some of their air test systems. A couple of people saying they bought some more Nebius. A few people saying they continued to buy into memory. SOFI, I think we got above 17 SOFI right there at 1758. That's up 3.32% as Nebius is getting a nice little pump into the close. I think it was at, is this the high of the day? Yeah, this is the high of the day. This is the exact high of the day. 17% move on Mr. Nebius. Again, it is really hard for a lot of people to psychologically be in something that barely moves when, you know, a stock like this moves up 17%. Now, the pushback against that argument is, well, the downside is brutal, and it is, but, you know, not participating in the upside is also really annoying for people. So I wonder if the leverage that just got flushed out, if that comes back in, and if it does come back in, what implications does it have, especially if today's a dead cat bounce, which I don't think anyone can tell you yes or no. We'll have Jason on today. We'll see his perspectives. I would imagine he would think it's less of a dead cat bounce given the velocity of this move, but I'm curious from his technical analysis where he thinks this is going. But if Nebius is not going to 160 again, Micron's not going to 800 again, you know, then maybe these names have more dip buyers coming in. Klarna right there at 18 bucks, Robinhood at 106. The 10-year, unfortunately, this is the other confusing part about this market today. Like, you would not think the 10-year, or you would not think stocks would have this big a move. And it's not just semis, it's the S&P 500 today with the 10-year continuing to creep up, but it is. And either the market doesn't care or the market does care, just not today. Oil prices as well. It was coming down in the morning. It is right back up to the highs of the day, 84.65. We have not passed 85 yet, but we are close, as that has not fully gone back down. Nate says, I sold 330 covered calls for next Friday, 115 per contract. Nate, I might do that with you because that's whoever's paying $1.15 for $330 calls next week. Nate, I might legitimately do that on the shares I bought at 178 and the shares I bought at 232 2 weeks ago. Who's paying $1.15 for Nebius to go to 330 by next Friday? I mean, I understand covered calls can be kind of tricky and you can get stuck in them, but if it goes to 330 by next week, I don't think I would mind selling either. That is pretty incredible. Here's Mr. Brian Armstrong on Coinbase explaining a little bit more about this Clarity Act that hopefully we could get coming soon.
And rallying today, and that's giving crypto-related names like Coinbase a big boost. Let's get to Emily Wilkins live on Capitol Hill with Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong.
Thanks so much, Leslie. Appreciate it. Brian, thank you so much for joining us today. You are on the Hill talking to senators in this critical last-minute push to get the Senate to pass this rules of the road crypto bill. We know Republicans are on board. We know the White House is on board. We know that Democrats have some concerns. Talk to me about the conversations that you've had today. Is there a path to get Democrats to yes?
Yes. The Clarity Act is at the 1 yard line, and it reflects the work from both sides of the aisle, spending thousands of hours along with their staff to get a true bipartisan compromise. This bill would strengthen power for law enforcement. It would bring new consumer protections. And you have to remember, the status quo is that we don't have any federal laws protecting consumers or helping this industry get built in the United States. So the status quo is not going to work. This bill is a dramatic benefit to the United States of America, and it's time to get it over the finish line.
Okay, we'll go back to him after the bell, but I think that's part of the reason why Bitcoin, Ethereum, BMR market strategy have started to have a good day as NBIS continues its pump into the close. Same thing with NVIDIA, same thing with Micron. Actually, all of these names, same thing with SanDisk, getting a nice end of day move of momentum, whereas usually it's end of day sell-off. So today is obviously much different from the previous days. But I think part of the reason is for Bitcoin's move is, you know, Coinbase and all these other different institutional players in the crypto universe starting to sound a lot more positive on getting the Democrats and Republicans to agree to a crypto bill for the Clarity Act, which, you know, if crypto joins the bull market, that would be very fun for Hoodie and Coinbase, which had its best day in a long time. Obviously good for, you know, BMR, MicroStrategy, et cetera, but just overall risk appetite and liquidity could improve if you have more regulatory clarity. It's just that 10-year spiking up makes it really hard to assume we're going to get rate cuts, which is, I think, the big thing you need for a lot of these crypto names. Granted, Bitcoin and ETH are down so much, you know, they should be able to pump, hopefully, at least a little bit more from here before you need a macro catalyst coming in. SOFI, right, they're up 3.75% as well. Okay, so we have Ibkr and Capital One and Chubb. These are relatively non-volatile companies. I mean, Capital One, I think the implied move is like 2 to 3%. Chubb is like less than 1%, and then Ibkr maybe is 4.5%. So let's do the poll right here. Which one outperforms as AEHR pumps into the close as well? You have Capital One, Ibkr, and Chubb. By the way, our boy Josh Brown sold his Nike. He is out of Mr. Nike. I think even he is looking at the AI sell-off and being like, there's just better opportunity. Nike still trades at 25 times forward. I mean, Meta's cheaper, for goodness sakes, dude. Like, it's hard. It's hard to be excited. And Nike has like, what, 1% growth? Meta has 30%. Who knows, dude? Maybe Meta gets closer to like 35, 36% this quarter. They did 33 last quarter. I mean, they end up getting close to that 40% at some point. I think the street's like, okay, we get it. They're spending on CapEx. They don't have free cash flow, but you know, maybe that level of growth doesn't get discounted as much. S&P 500, 748.38. All right, let's end out the day. Let's get through some earnings. We'll have Jason on in 20 minutes. And then we will get into the technicals. Refute the mute. It is Tuesday, July 21st, 4 p.m. The stock market is now closed. All right. Why did I just become British right there? Why did I? All right. Was that Australian? We are done for the day. S&P 500, 748.32. That is up 1% on the day. NVIDIA was up about 2%. The GOOGS was down about 1.3%, as a lot of the hyperscalers taking a little bit of a hit. Palantir down about 1.62%. The software names taking a hit. Rocket Lab, 5%. Nice little move, a little bit up. Robinhood, 106.36. This was up 7%. Robinhood did get above 108, but got rejected at that level. But a nice move from the 98 level it was at yesterday. Broadcom, 386. That was up 2%. AMD, hell of a day. It feels like the partnership on AMD with Microsoft actually got priced in today, up 8%. They have a big event tomorrow. NVIDIA did confirm that headline that came out that NVIDIA says they're their Vera processors are better than AMD's Turns processors. So they did come out and they put out a press release on, a bunch of their stuff. I think they're obviously trying to do it before AMD's event, but that event will be important tomorrow. Or I think it's on Thursday, and we'll see what they end up saying. Oscar right there, that had a great day, up 3.8%. Air Test Systems, that was up 27%. How about NBIS, 216.92, 18% day for Mr. NBIS. Micron right there at 970. How about CRWV? I think it was up about 5%. CRWV was actually up 9%, closed just below 80, 79.58. Just below 80, but that stock is green. The memory names, SanDisk, etc., did well. Coinbase did well today. Bitcoin back above 65. Coinbase up 9%. And then you had your NVIDIAs of the world that were also up about 1.9%. All right, earnings. Let's get into it. Ibkr. Whoa. Nice little candle for Mr. Interactive Brokers. Double beat. Street wanted 64 cents of EPS. They came in at 69 cents. That is a beat by 8%. The street wanted 1.8 billion of revenue. They came in at 1.89 billion of revenue. That's a beat by 5%. Revenue's up 28% year over year. EPS is up 35% year over year on Mr. Ibkr. We'll get some more details, but this is very good for Robinhood, very good for Webull. Schwab crushed their earnings today as well. So all the brokers obviously had a very good Q2. Does anyone own the stock? Put in the chat. Does anyone own the stock? Let me try to get some more details on these numbers, but these are pretty big beats for a company that's not expected to have massive beats. Let's see their full AUM. They don't have their press release out yet, so it might take a minute to get it. Ibkr right there up 3.6. Robinhood's up 0.12. Also, put in the chat if you use Interactive Brokers. How many people here use it? My uncle uses it, and he showed me some features on it I actually thought were really good in Singapore. Like some of that stuff I would want on Robinhood. So there are some really good elements to the platform. 97 right there after hours. We don't have Capital One yet or Chubb yet. Capital One flat after hours. Chubb, we know Berkshire. Chubb was Berkshire's secret stock back in 2023 for 7 months. Everyone thought it was PayPal or Disney or Verizon. It ended up just being an insurance company. But I think he bought it like 220. It's at 350, so it's obviously done well. Robinhood right there, 106. Ibkr still up 2.5%. Decent amount of people here use it. Decent amount of people here use it. Still waiting for some of these other earnings. I don't have them yet. Let's see if we can get it on their website. Again, I don't think Capital One and Chubb are going to move that aggressively, but obviously it would be good to see what they're saying for the state of the consumer, how they're thinking of where discretionary spend is going. Ibkr 2.6 is giving back a little of that momentum. It touched 99. I think it was above 100 at one point, right? Ibkr, is this the all-time high? Oh, wow. No, it's at all-time highs. So how much is Ibkr up year to date? Ibkr is up 40% this year. Wow. It is massively outperforming every brokerage. And now it's about 42%. So this one is, again, this one didn't have the multiple Robinhood had in October, which is why Robinhood took a hit. So, it's kind of the discrepancy there in terms of what premium it was trading at and what had to get discounted. But Ibkr right there having a very strong quarter as that's up 2%. Yeah, the founder of Ibkr, Thomas Petterfy, absolute legend. Does anyone know his net worth? Put in the chat. Don't look it up on Google. I asked this a while ago, and no one knew his net worth. But it's pretty incredible. It's like people do not even know this guy. And he's one of the richest people in the world. Ibkr up 1.67. Still waiting for Capital One and Chubb. What other earnings do we have? Yeah, I think that's it. I don't see any other major earnings that we're looking for today. Yes, it is 107 billion. 107 billion, dude. Because he owns like 80% of Ibkr. So he owns a lot of the company, which is crazy, right? Like no one even talks about him when you come to the when you talk about the super rich billionaires in the country. Coinbase right there, 9.6%, as that's also still green. AAOI getting a little bit of a move after hours. Okay, Capital One, do we have numbers? We are up. It was up 2%. Now it's up 1%. Got a beat and a beat. Wow, this EPS beat for a bank is kind of crazy, but nonetheless, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs had the same thing. 24% beat. 580 is what they brought in. The street wanted 469. Revenue 15.85 billion versus 15.77. They beat by 1% on revenue. Revenue's up 27% year over year. They beat by 24% on EPS. EPS is up 6% year over year. Once again, the trend of these banks, either through efficiencies or just margin improvements across core parts of the business, they are beating BlackRock, Blackstone, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citi. They all crushed their EPS numbers, which is a really healthy sign for the financials right now. SMCI is up 5%. I do not know why. I'm assuming there's a headline. Do we want to guess while we don't know? Oh, never mind. No time to guess. Got the headline. SMCI put up preliminary Q4 revenue. Okay, usually when they do that, it's a bad thing, but the market seems to like it right now. Up 6% right here. So preliminary Q4 revenues near the low end of 11 billion to 12.5 billion guidance range. They see their gross margins. Oh, this is it. So even though they're saying we're going to be lower on revenue, wow, gross margins, they guided for 8%. They're saying we're going to come in at 17%. That'll do it for you. That was the biggest issue with SMCI has always been their margins have been disgusting, even if their revenue has been strong and their growth has been strong. How do they double their margins? They also booked over 60 billion in new orders in Q4. Their backlog's at a record high. They are conducting an independent review regarding the export control issues with China, and they will report final results on August 11th. I mean, that's, yeah, I would say the street's probably right to pump it here. I don't know if it'll last, but a doubling of margins. That means Dell and HPE probably are expected to also increase their margins. Dell and HPE both up after hours, HP up 2%. How do they do that? SMCI doesn't have that much leverage with their customers. They guided 8.2 to 8.4%. They're now saying margins are going to be 15 to 17. I mean, that's pretty incredible, but I am so curious how they were able to negotiate those types of margins. I mean, are we that compute constrained that even the server rack companies are starting to have this type of leverage? No way they're lying, right? They can't lie. You can't put out preliminary guidance and lie, right? I mean, I know they've lied about stuff in the past, but like, I don't know, to lie on preliminary guidance would be kind of crazy. Also, like at some point, right? Like if they don't put out 15 to 17% margins, then there's no way. They're definitely going to report 15 to 17% margins. The question is going to be, are they cooking the books? But there's no way they're going to come out and have like 12% margins, because you can't have a preliminary guide that is, I mean, I think technically you can because it's not like set in stone, but still, that shouldn't be happening. Regardless, congratulations. If you're an SMCI right there, 17% move. I mean, if they actually double margins, yeah, I think the stock should get a move right here, because historically they have never been able to have those types of margins. You have Alaska Airlines that also just put out, is this it? No, not Alaska Airlines. This is AAR. This is an American provider of aircraft maintenance services. Their stock is up a bit right here after hours. Ticker symbol AIR. Sorry, they're down 2%. They beat on EPS 153 versus 138. Revenue 928 versus 849 million. That stock down about 2.3% after hours. So you had Capital One crushed it on EPS. Chubb, don't have the numbers yet, but that's down 1%. Ibkr just went red after having a 3% pump, but they crushed it as well. But the story of after hours is none of the companies that reported. It is SMCI, which, you know, this would be the best day for SMCI to put out this type of a preliminary guidance, because the semis had a great day. So if SMCI is doing great, why shouldn't Nebius get another little bit of a pump? That's up a little bit after hours. Micron's up a little bit after hours. I mean, all the semis, if SMCI is putting up those margins, AAOI up after hours probably are going to piggyback off of that. CleanSpark, that's also up 1%. Dell after hours is up 4%. Yep, it should be. It should be. I mean, Dell also doesn't have good margins, but if SMCI has leverage with their customers to command that type of a premium, Dell, which does a lot more revenue than SMCI, should be able to do the same. HPE should be able to do the same. As Dell and HPE continue to be up after hours. CoreWeave, that should be above 80, right? After hours. Yep, there you go. 80.37. That's up another 1% as Nebius hits 220. Dude, that's pretty incredible. 60 billion new orders in Q4, record backlog, and now you have gross margins that have doubled. I mean, that doesn't easily happen for a company like SMCI. Let me see if I can get a little bit more coverage on SMCI. Do people believe it? Or do we think there's something funny here? Do we believe it or we think there's something funny? I mean, lying like that for preliminary guidance, it's hard to imagine they're doing that. But it's a hell of a prelude before we get into semiconductor earnings, because we've only had ASML and TSM so far. A lot of these picks and shovels plays, which SMCI, it's not super small of a company, but it's definitely a picks and shovels play. They haven't really reported yet, besides Air Test Systems, which completely blew away the numbers. So, you know, if this is the type of earnings season we're going to get from these semiconductor names, maybe we're going higher. SMCI, $30 right there after hours. So why isn't NVIDIA up? Well, I mean, this doesn't really... I guess you could say the record backlog means NVIDIA has a lot of demand, but we already knew that. NVIDIA already has 75% gross margins, right? So it's relatively priced in, but 8% to freaking 17. Let me check SMCI's TTM gross margins and see if that is still... Yeah, their TTM gross margin, so the trailing 12 month, is 8.3. Dude, if they're saying that's 17%, that's not just for Q4. That's going to be probably for 2027, because you can't have one good quarter of 17% margins and then go back to 50% worse margins. Like, this is a structural change in their business. That's why the stock is pumping so much. Like, I mean, it's right to pump. The street's like, holy crap, you just became 50% more profitable. Why shouldn't we be excited about this? That's why Dell is pumping, for those that are asking. SMCI, Dell, HPE, they play in the same game. But hold on, let me check Dell's TTM gross margins. Dell's are 19%. So obviously Dell's are way better than SMCI's, which is why the stock has done way better than SMCI. They're just more profitable. But what if Dell goes from like 21% to 40%? Like, I don't want to get too excited. I don't know if Dell could double their gross margins, but what if they do? I mean, that would be crazy, right? That would be crazy as Nebius passes 220 in the after hours, which it should. I mean, this SMCI news is not hype, unless they're lying, which who knows. But if they're not lying, that is a structural change in the business. And the most important takeaway is not even about SMCI. It's if they're having a structural pivot on a margin level, then how many other companies are theoretically also having that structural pivot? You know, that's allowing them to gain more leverage. We know Micron has crazy margins, NVIDIA has crazy margins, but these smaller companies have not. So that's pretty freaking cool right here, as Bitcoin and ETH also getting a little bit of a move after hours as well. Do we have Apple news? We have a Palo Alto headline. Palo Alto's buying Embrace is the name of the company to add real user monitoring capabilities. Acquisition expected to close in Q1 of 2027. I do not have the number on how much they're paying for that, but this is the fourth acquisition that Palo Alto has done in the past year, I think. Past 7 months. I don't see any Apple news after hours. Nothing on Apple. Even though it is down 1%, there might be something. But HPE, Dell, and SMCI up based on that report. Did anyone buy the SMCI dip over the past 3 weeks? I know people have been in this as a historical position, but did anyone pick SMCI as their dip buy? Where's the low it got to? It got to, over the past few weeks, it got to 23. That was the low. It was at 36 June 22nd to 23. It's back to 30 after hours. Back to 30 after hours. Ibkr, I think we have some more of their numbers. Let's take a look at that. We'll try to get some more details on this SMCI news, but obviously very freaking bullish. Unless they're lying. I don't understand how on preliminary guidance you could straight up lie. Like there's no way they come in with lower margins than what they're guiding for. Or, you know, maybe the numbers are real on paper, but if you cook the books, they're, you know, if you go underneath the hood, they're not that real. But then again, like what's going to prompt regulators to look into their numbers? Like something would have to happen, right? So I don't know. I'm taking them at their word. I don't have a position in this company, but if they say they're going to do 17% margins instead of 8%, the street's got to react to that. The street's got to react to that. Okay, Ibkr right here. So we saw a beat on EPS and revenue. Commission revenue, $673 million. Net interest income, $1.06 billion. Other fees, $87 million. They had total equity of $22.3 billion. Customer accounts increased 34% to 5 million accounts. Equity increased to $930 billion. They almost have $1 trillion in AUM. They are very close to $1 trillion in AUM. That's up 40% year over year. Obviously, the bull market has helped that. Total DARTs, when you're analyzing brokerage companies, are a daily average revenue trade. So that's the number of trades per day that make the brokerage revenue. That is up 36% year over year to 4.82 million trades. Customer credits, $182 billion. Margin loans up 67% to $108.5 billion. So it's not just the Koreans. It is across the world. People are taking out more margin. I mean, those are really healthy stats in the brokerage business. And I would imagine Robinhood's going to do well based on those stats. Schwab did great. The sustainability of that going into Q3 is going to be the big question as SoFi continues to move after hours. But overall, not bad. All right, if you're just joining, SMCI announces preliminary revenue of $12 billion, but preliminary Q4 gross margins of 15 to 17% above the prior guide from 8.2 to 8.4. That is why this stock is green. And they have 60 billion in new orders, which is their highest backlog that they've ever had. Yep, CRWV up after hours, NBIS up after hours. This is so bullish semis based on my gut reaction of the idea that if a server rack company in a low margin business can extract 50% higher margins than what they guided for, either they sandbag the crap out of the guide, which also could be something that's happening. But SMCI historically has had bad margins. So I don't even think it was that much of a sandbag. It was just like, hey, you know, this is how the business has been. Take it or leave it. This is what we do. And we don't have a good margin. For them to increase that by double is weird, right? It's like it's weird in a good way, but it also makes you think that all of these other companies are going to have the potential to get a bit more margin and also do something that they need to do. CRWV right there, 81.73, as that is up 2.73%. You guys didn't see Jason. I definitely didn't click on him accidentally. So you guys did not see Jason just now for that half a second. I definitely didn't click on him before playing the intro. That didn't happen. You saw a mirage. So don't worry about what you just saw. But SMCI, there it is, 20%. Speaking of Jason, I would be very curious to get his thoughts on what's going on with SMCI, given he has worked with the company before, along with the broader macro and technicals of this market. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday, which means once again, it is time to roll the intro.
Did I get on for just a little bit?
Dude, I was
Oh,
going to
wait.
take off Weeble and I pressed you by accident. I was like, oh my goodness.
That's hilarious. Nice. I have been having the craziest audio issues, so just let me know if anything happens here a week.
We will let you know, but you're good. Dude, before we get into it, I mean, you saw that SMCI news. You know this company and this industry doesn't have good margins. What is your take on
Don't
what
play with my emotions. Don't be coming at me telling me I've been right the whole time. But and wrong.
God, this SMCI was a stock that Jason liked a lot last year. I forgot. That's true.
Yeah, well, I mean, just from how would you say? You know, when it all kicked off, nothing changed on my logic or my thesis there. Quite frankly, I think it was just the politics around the CEO and market dynamics about having to have a what's the word? Internal investigation on your numbers. But you know, that said, it's look, I think that they can be good. I think that they could be really good. But
do you have any explanation for why you think they were able to double their margins in 90 days?
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is maybe that new product line that they launched is hitting like hard. I don't know if you know, so SMCI historically has been a like literal commodity play, and
yes.
there's it's like a all-in-one type. I don't know if it's converged solution is the right terminology, but there's another product that they've been talking about for like years, kind of like turnkey solution for an AI build, if you will, that if that launches, that should, in my mind, this was part of the bull case, was that should significantly increase margins. But from a company perspective to double, I wasn't thinking that much. Definitely not. That's a lot. I think Dell is higher still, right? But that's, to me, Dell is very software, not software. They have a lot of services also. Dell has an entire arm called wow, I forgot. They have an entire services arm for sure. That's just engineering services, which is heavily high margin, and like they have a software arm and they have a financing arm. Like it's a whole thing.
It is very consistent with some of the NVIDIA updates we got today. Also, I think this is correct as well. They did take a bit of a hit due to that XAI Colossus project that they were working on. So this might be kind of coming back to normal.
Yeah.
But their TTM growth margins are still.
That was the big deal that we kind of knew about before it happened, and then like it happened, and it was like, oh, it didn't do anything.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty incredible, and that's why it's helping all the semi stocks overnight. So let's get into the TA. We'll start off with SPY. I am very curious.
The TA is that we're back, baby. We're back.
You gave away the punchline, bro. We're back. That's
Dude,
it. We don't need the TA anymore. That's it.
That's it. Why is my light so... Oh, that's too dark. I'm trying to change my... Hello, too bright. Why can't I fix this?
You guys heard Jason. He says we're back. I'm curious how he thinks of a lot of these names here today.
We're back, baby. I mean, it would be nice to be back. That's for sure. But oh, you want me to share my screen or something? Is that what you're asking for?
Would be helpful.
I'm trying to change my queue. All right, that's fine. Squirrel. That's all I know.
Yeah, I think the big question today that we want to run through, and we are going to get through some of the main tickers, guys. Then we'll get into the audience requests and the other tickers. I think the main question that I've heard today is, to your point, are we back, or is this a bounce that will ultimately get faded?
Would it be really weird if I said that like my sentiment was that we never really left? I mean, maybe. Like some stocks have been down, 40%, give or take. And I will say, like, from an index perspective, again, this is am I? Oh yeah. So I got a 5. Are you ready? Do we want to start this? Ready to roll?
Let's do it. Let's roll.
All right. So 5 minutes on the clock. So this is SPY. I'm looking at just a daily chart. Technically, still in the consolidation. If I throw my, my little secret sauce stuff on here, what I can say is we never broke down. I never once had a situation here where I was like, we're losing really support. Support is here at this 740 down to 735 area. I'll make this a little bit bigger for you guys. It was Qs. So this is like, I would call it like the broadening. That said, we're still not out of the weeds. Last time, I believe when we talked and we were probably up in this area, was like, we're towards the highs, but I still don't, and even in that instance, don't really have a trigger to say, hey, we're going to go higher. I believe what I said last time was that this market looked very primed for selling premium. And I would actually say the same, right? Like we're selling calls and puts on both levels. Quite frankly, look at the charts. That's been the right call any way you slice it. As we sit here today we're closer to the highs than the lows. Still no actual breakdown here. QQQ also for me on this one, hit this. I actually didn't have a full breakdown on Qs either. I just had a downside target of 699. So in this instance, no, I never had a follow through to the downside. I just have a retest of support. So as I see it right now, the sector that has the most upside is actually the Qs, just to get back to this 730 plus kind of upside resistance. For now, we have to get through these first couple levels, and the levels on my chart are very set in stone, I would say. For right now, we're gonna traverse kind of this one specific range, which is a May section. So right now we are likely going to 711 spot 14. We have earnings on the horizon. The best part of this situation right now is that I don't know if you've looked at the macro calendar at all recently, but dude, there's nothing. Like there's really there's nothing happening. The Fed is at a blackout period. We have nothing to look forward to but earnings. So as long as the companies don't absolutely blow it, we'll probably be okay. And this little breakdown is kind of just like a small little nightmare that is quickly recovered within 48 hours time. So on QQQ. That said, it leaves a lot of very interesting plays of where we are right now. So as we go through the charts, unlike last time, what I could say is, if you ask for the right tickers, you might find some really juicy gems. So today is probably a day that you could let me go off and, at some point into the what do we call it?
The flow state.
The flow state. And I might actually be able to find like a bunch of gems for you, but we shall see. So that said, look, we never really broke down at the index level. Some stocks have been down significantly. I think those stocks are exactly where you want to look at right now, because if we do bounce, those beat down names that might be for no good reason, the big discounted ones are probably the ones that have the highest upside potential from here, and at the same time are largely de-risked since they've come down quite a bit off their highs. I'm looking at this chat, man. I love it.
Yeah, and
Paul's already dropping some gems, but you could go into a stock draft and be like, anything Jason picked that is really bad right now, probably worth a shot.
Yeah, a lot of those are down a lot because the AI trade has been hit. Now, to your point, the S&P 500 didn't really break down over the past couple of weeks, but SMH and the semis did, and I think that's the bigger question right here in terms of how people are seeing the reaction. By the way, real quick, Oklo is up because they are joining a bid with X Energy to speed nuclear reactors for AI. The headline is Oklo X Energy joined Trump bid to speed up the development of nuclear reactors for AI. That's why that's
look, energy has always been everything. And I just don't think that's changed at all. I just think that the market is. Have you seen some of the headlines that came out since we talked last? Like, dude, come on. like the bear cases are just like restating things that are just to be glaringly obvious to me. Like there was a Corning like note from JP Morgan, I think it was, that dropped the stock like 9% in a day, that basically said, oh, they're expensive, the risk is execution, be careful. And I'm like, if you don't know this, you probably shouldn't own the stock. Like, this is like, what are we talking about here? This is like glaringly obvious. But anyways.
Okay, so let's get into...
I just tying off the indices. Diamonds looks good also, but this is IWM. So if you remember, if you're thinking about that old AI trade, the picks and shovels, the AI accelerator trade, if you will, a lot of that came out of IWM. This is where IWM sits right now. I have a trigger to go long as long as we're over 249, 295 on IWM from here. So today this triggers long on the mid cap index IWM. It can come back, it can retest this. This is a net new trigger, so I'm just kind of putting it out there at the index level. So it can come back and be kind of like this, but as long as we see an extension on IWM, then from here, this is how that would actually show up. So it can come back, retest 295s ish, but as long as it's holding 295 moving forward, then this trigger is live. You don't have to take action today. I'm definitely not saying that, but I am saying that right here, right now, this is a new trigger to go long on IWM. Okay. So watch it. And if this happens, then that smaller cap, mid cap AI trade is on.
Let's do a few of the big ones, and then we'll get into some more of the smaller names and keep going from there. Let's start off with Micron. What do you think about memory?
The cow moo. I mean, these guys had a big, like a big pullback. A lot of them did. And, you know, I'm still getting the text messages of like, hey, look, you know, which is better, Micron or what is the other one? SK Hynix. And I'm like, I'm kind of like you. I'm not really into the memory trade as a whole, just because it's so consensus. But what I can say, I'm going to take this off for just a minute, this fib. What I can say is that we had a little bit of a, what's called like empty zone of trading right in here from whatever day this was. I'm going to drop into extended hours. Yeah, there's still a little bit of a gap to be had. I think by and large, this is mostly filled. 752 was kind of like that next downside gap. Gaps don't have to fill. We're leaving kind of a gap as we go from last night as well. A couple of them. So downside remains 750s, give or take. Oddly enough, that would mean that a $1,200 stock, you know, goes down to 750. I mean, I'm not opposed to that. I feel like that's a common thing that we see, but that is from this high to this low, or from this high into this general area right here. Probably good enough for government work, for lack of better saying. This area actually also retested. Actually is a pretty clean retest of this prior break of structure over here, slightly breaching this prior support right there. So kind of like an undercut. I don't actually have a higher high on this one just yet, and I still have it at, so this would be where the bears basically give up. I don't have this out of the way just yet, but I have it very close to it. So like, meaning if I were to say a downside channel, this is just like day one of potentially poking its head out. This is an area where, in this case, probably a little bit more cautious than optimistic. You can see it a green day tomorrow, and then if it pulls back and then holds this general area, that would be best case scenario. That's just around 9.25 for Micron. If that does happen, let's just say if that does happen from anywhere in here, we'll take this. That still leaves, yeah. So right now I'm showing, oh man, it's all lining up. I'm showing 1090 as resistance with as major resistance, with the first area of resistance right around that even $1,000 number. just slightly over. So like 1019, give or take. This is where the bears live, right in here. So I think my point is it can come in here. It can even do this, but like you want to see it come in and eventually hold and start to base. And then at some point in time in the future, that'll start to go higher. So right now, I think for Micron, yes, you do have a little bit of a push to the upside still, and it's probably immediately tomorrow. From there, it's about like, can this hold?
Okay. Nebius.
This one is juicy, dude. So you got right into this extension level. So on Nebius here, this was kind of like my first area of interest around 175. It got slightly below that, like 160s. And quickly within 1 day. No, it was only down there for like 1 day. Yeah, 1 day. Anything over 175 is good. At this point, you want to hold momentum. 212 was a bigger breach right here. So to hold momentum, Nebius can kind of like do this, and I want to see it continue on. That's to 260s, 250, 260. If it cannot hold 212, what I will say is on this chart, it does look like we could get another retest of that 180 area, which is fine. And I just want to see that area hold. So about 185 is current support. Big, massive day today. But again, we want to see this area hold. So does it come back and retest? It's possible. And I think you should be aware of that potential. But if that happens and then you get this, I mean, this is kind of like your picture perfect setup. So I'll be watching Nebius. Either it's just going to go and that's fine, or you get a retest into 185s and it holds. I just don't want to see it below that 175 type area, because if that happens, then yeah, we still have 140s to deal with. But with the news flow at the moment, with earnings literally right around the corner and being down as much as it is from a percentage perspective, I think that's perfectly fine. Just starting to bounce right here, right now. And I think my point about like, did we really leave? If I take this, all the indicators off, and I just kind of like throw on a daily candlestick, zoom out a bit. I mean, when you look at a chart like this, we could go even to weekly. It's like, where's the pullback? Like you really don't even see it. I know it feels like it was a massive pullback, but like when you look at general structure like this, it's like, okay, we have a clean push to the upside. Then we have a bit of a pullback, right? Quickly, but a lot of consolidation. And then we have another clean push to the upside, right? Then we have a little bit of a pullback. And what I'm saying now is like, expect a little bit of consolidation. And then if the trend continues, that's what we're talking about. And this order of operations is extremely typical. So I wouldn't get discouraged on anything like this. I know it was rough to hold through a patch like that, but congrats if you did. Congrats if you bought the dip. I think the dip is going to work out. My point here is that, yeah, it was a massive day today. So any kind of pullback, I think is something that should be anticipated, not expected, but just let it be known. Hey, look, it's very possible. And at the end of the day, after a 20% move, near 20% move, not even my best mover on the day, but very close to it. It's a big one. So give this a little bit for the market to digest this. I don't think it's necessarily over, but like Micron, I think it can go up slightly higher, closer to that 250 range, like I said. And then from there, let's see, right? Because it can go up into 250 where resistance is right over here, and then pull back, and that would begin the consolidation phase.
Okay. I think we can take the timer to 2:30. I don't have to keep it at 5.
Man, sure.
Core
I'm trying to like use some extra air because I didn't really need 5 minutes either.
Yeah.
I mean, Corey is perfect.
Many of these are also in the same sector, right?
Yeah. Corey is perfect. I mean, this, if you didn't know $70 was support on CoreWeave, $70 is support on CoreWeave. Spoiler alert. And support has held. This downtrend here is even more interesting. I think this is pretty clean. What I mean by that is like you have a broken downtrend. So the downtrend is from here, and you got a couple little hits here, kind of pushing, but still like never really getting through. And it finally breaks, right? But when it breaks, it's still like, technically the first break, and this is why I was kind of like pumping the brakes a little bit on Micron. The first break of a downtrend like this isn't always the one that you want to take. Technically, a pullback and a clean retest, I mean, this is clean, a clean retest of said break. I mean, it doesn't get any cleaner. This, I mean, that's pretty textbook. When everything comes together just like that, it's kind of a rare thing, very far away from these SMAs. I think is a nice bounce is in the works. I think it's obvious that it's active right now. So day one of this real bounce, I don't think it's necessarily over. I think you could get to 90s, give or take, maybe pull back a little bit, but you're going to have this general like area of SMAs right in here where this price is going to head into, and it's probably going to get stuck a little bit. This is, 100, 110 down to 90s where it can get stuck over here. And that's, if it can hold, cool, then you want to see that. And that's honestly, it's just going to take you right back into this 140 area, 130 to 140 area, at which point I would not expect it to continue higher. I would expect more sellers to show up. Maybe it looks good for a while, maybe not, but the trajectory right now is to the upside, which, collectively across the board for a lot of these AI stocks sets up pretty nice. But from there, do we expect massive breakouts? I would taper that expectation slightly. Cool.
IREN.
But this is a very good trade location. Very, very good trade location.
IREN.
33, give or take, was the level hit. Held 39 is what it needed to hold. It's exactly what it's happening today. So again, down to this 30 support area, which is, I don't know if this is my chart from our group coaching or from yours, but this is from like inception low to all-time high. And so this 39 area measures 50% of that entire move. And this area down here is kind of like that technical retracement. That's like really your best edge. From here, you really want to see this holding 39.95. And the resistance remains up towards the 60s. It's just that support has held at this point. So resistance being 53. You got to get through this first little tranche, of course, just to actually make it real. Tranche as in like this area right here, where we've seen like a lot of reaction points. So can we be currently looking at this type of candle that just like explodes to the upside and then kind of pulls back over the next while and goes sideways? It's possible. I don't know that this actually comes down unless you have a lot of dilution, which is what I would be mostly concerned about on this stock. Because we know I have the one hesitation I have on IREN is always been the same. Look, the charts still support what they support technically, but fundamentally, if they keep diluting, that's going to make that a whole lot harder to get to.
Yeah, and I mean, the new deals are really important. It's just, to your point, that 6 billion ATM has been the issue. Intel.
Well, you got earnings in a couple days. So I think this is the first CPU stock. So a bit of a, breach below 90s. 105 is kind of like that first area of interest. So we'll have to see. This is again tomorrow. We'll have to see what happens, because before this is where a lot of people were selling or buying Intel rather. And so after a breach, a short one and then a retest. We kind of just want to see, do they sell anywhere between 113 and 105? So this area is now your resistance. I think you can do this, but I can't say that decisively because you have earnings right now. So Intel, I think, stay long is my sentiment, but technically this is a bit of a, at this point we have a price discovery also. So I hate to say it, but we are getting some price discovery on Intel, which can be a little bit violent. So TBD on this guy. I think upside is still there, and it needs to hold. It's probably going to get to 113s.
You think the good results on earnings are baked in already, or they could surprise?
I think that's the concern across the board, right? So like the pull forward, if you will, like how bad is the pull forward or whatever you want to call it? That's what we don't know. I think everybody's going to have a great quarter. I think that's the baseline expectation. And if they don't, then there will be a reckoning for some of these stocks. So there's not really a lot of margin for error. And I think that over the last few weeks is honestly what I believe we've been seeing. Knowing that, look, a lot of these stocks have run up so far, so fast, it doesn't leave a lot of margin for error on an actual print, which, you know, that's just part of the market, right? Like, it's like your stock runs so up, so far, so fast and you watch all your theses or whatever, all your ideas come true. It's like, you know, and it happens all before they report earnings. It's like, well, you know, now what?
All right. Rocket Lab.
Lava Rocket, she looks good. I don't know if it's Space Cruise time, but it is it's a nice hold on the Lava Rockets. Again, from inception low to all-time low to all-time high, we are holding this general $60 area right over here. And you know, what I will say is this whole area is where twofold. Basically, it's been bought and spent a lot of time in. So this might take a little bit to get through since we have some pretty heavy like selling wicks in the past. If Rocket Lab were to go sideways for a while here, I don't think it's a big deal. But at the low end of this range, at least 75 to me is in the cards. I probably shouldn't have said it that way, but yeah, this looks like a great spot on the Lava Rock to take a shot, especially with all of this kind of prior buying pressure that it's dealt with.
Like 58, 59 is where you think there's really good support, right?
Yeah, but it's good support here now also. So that's like, you know, if you're taking a trade on this, I'll just tell you, like, your upside would look just like $110. So on a short-term upside trade, like you're at least 80, which 75, 80, which is like 15% from here.
Right.
And then realistically, if you get a good move, then you're talking about $120 on a basic dead cat bounce. That's 75% upside on a basic technical dead cat bounce. If I were to put up a risk reward chart like this, I mean, this is classic. This is like picture perfect textbook risk to reward. So I would be risking 1 down to 57 as a stop. You'd even go it, but to make 3 from a ratio perspective. I mean, do you get this to get your 10x risk reward? I don't know, but if I did, I would probably add it also and have that stop, like from a trading perspective, right around this 50, just below 57.
Right.
maybe even down here. Who knows?
ASTS,
ASTS.
which took a beating on the convertible, but
Yeah.
trying to find support.
Oops. Shit. I got a lot of lines on this. So this is done here. This is done here. Well, actually, I could have kept that. That's fine. So on a lot of these charts, I've had to do the same kind of exercise and go into 52-week, like not 52, all-time lows to all-time high measurements. And that actually landed me exactly at 52.91 to 48.72. And that's exactly what happened. So from here, you get to 68 for sure. Well, I say for sure, you should get to 68. And then you have to, if you can get through that, then you're talking about an actual retest. So realistically, the trades are here to here and potentially here to here, potentially this. That said, from a momentum perspective, if any of this doesn't continue through, you absolutely expect this. They probably didn't want me to do that second red arrow, but yeah, this is from here to here, 68. If it can't get through, expect another retest of that $50-ish level. A lot of the space names we could just do, I don't know, this would be mine, red wire, same exact thing. You're right on the lows here. So these are all good spots. Again, can you expect some kind of a pullback or like consolidation? I think that's more than reasonable here. But yeah, this looks good.
Okay. NVIDIA.
NVIDIA has not changed really. Like, well, with one caveat, I think right over here, Tuesday, I think we were talking on this candle. I'm like, this should get back to probably this area if it can go any higher. It couldn't go any higher. I don't even remember what I said exactly, but it's possible that this does still see, I mean, equal highs before earnings, like with the end of August. So NVIDIA is currently kind of basing out above the prior consolidation, and that is the best thing to see. So this is a process right here. You're still in this prior consolidation area. So once it can get over 214, that's going to be kind of like your quick press. Then it's at 220. So it's a ways away from 214, mind you, right? If we see a pullback, fine. You can get a pullback retest, but I don't necessarily expect that. You're still, however you slice it, on this kind of trajectory. So from here, we're looking for this to actually break this kind of like prevailing downtrend from this guy up here. So if you connect the last two highs, you got a little bit more to go, probably 214. I honestly think this can get to 220 like quickly. And potentially, I mean, if you can get through 220, however long it takes before earnings, yeah, you have a very solid probability that this, in fact, is at highs before it reports, and you're in the same kind of situation one more time. But that's the setup. Holding over this massive consolidation range, that's really good. Like literally testing right off the top of that, making another higher low here. That's good. The only issue is that it's not breaking over. You got a little bit of a double top. So for those reasons, I'm saying like this is the process of consolidating. If it came back in and hit 190 again, for where this chart is, I don't think it would make a big difference one way or the other. This is a long-term setup.
Well, what is your target on this after earnings, if you have one?
I mean, if it does good, technically the charts say it can be 260 if it has like a real breakout from earnings down here. So let's say if this goes, if this part that I'm saying is likely to happen goes, and what you're asking is if it continues even further through like this, that's the 235. And then that's not a breakout still. When you use the word breakout is actually this over 240, and that 240 move takes you to the 265s.
Okay.
I have no idea what that market cap would be at that point, but yeah, that's, I mean, it's gone sideways for a long time. This is pretty clean, just as I see it. Yeah, I actually really don't hate that at all. Like that is textbook break, retest, and price starts to react. It can go a little sideways. That's fine. It doesn't even have to. But once this actually breaks, that's about the same price, like 250, 260. This general, area. Just freehanding it. Oh man.
Got earnings soon.
She looks good, and all the other ones are doing really good too. Yeah, she's looking nice, dude. But again, she's consolidating. I mean, with Schwab, Ibkr, what's Ibkr, and who is the other one that is reported so far?
I think
the brokerages. Yeah, okay. So the brokerages, look, they're saying Hood's going to have a good quarter. The biggest thing I could say about those specific brokerages, and without looking at the numbers, is those specific brokerages have a heavy component in the RIA business. So like registered investment advisors, there's like entire ecosystems for RIAs within Ibkr explicitly and historically with Schwab. That's like a massive chunk of their business. So meaning that they have a lot larger customers and they borrow a lot of money. That's kind of like a main playbook of their company. I don't think that Robinhood has that. So for those reasons, I'd be like, can't say they're actually one-to-one the same. But again, 108 to 120 remains the upside resistance here. If we can get through that like 123, 125 area, I mean, this is gonna look right nice, like real nice. I just don't want to get over my skis. Like I have no reason to. Yeah, I got a little gaparoo.
I know you said last week 130 after earnings, but it's just got to be a really good earnings, right?
I don't know. It's a sentiment thing. I think it just has to be a sentiment thing. Like I'm talking about brokerage business. It's Robinhood. Like we didn't know what they're going to come out and say their next lever is that they're pulling, like to add more fuel to the machine that's already running. I mean 122. Even if I get this break through here, at some point I would honestly expect some kind of consolidation, which would be, I mean, just an absolute massive win. And then we'll have to see, right? But it's doing what, and I don't want to get too over my skis here. It's doing what it needs to do to be a $250 stock. Like that's what's true. And I don't want to overstep, because that type of trade here takes a year or so, maybe 2 years from here to actually play out. So you're going to need lots of quarters. But yeah, I think so far it looks like the bottom is in. So far.
Yeah, my only concern with them would be if we have the midterm eating season sell-off, August, September, October, Q3 is going to be kind of ugly. But if we can avoid that.
Yeah, I think so. What I'm looking at is like, I'm looking at a situation where if that happens, like dude, okay, So let's say we get into summer and we're 145 coming into August.
Yeah.
And then that big sell-off is like down here. And then we come into September right around exactly where we are. And then we break out through next year. Like, that's what I'm talking about. And that type of a fail, like say from something like here, that's like another 25% down, right? Like that is in the charts. Like it's legitimately in the charts. So when I say like a process for this to go, it's like, dude, it's not a straight line. But this setup is cooking. That's all I'll say. But it's not a, I mean, it's not a microwave meal. This is like slow roast, like brisket. We're smoking this guy for a long time.
SOFI.
Really dumb analogy. I'm sorry.
What'd you say?
I was just comparing it to a slow roast smoke, like barbecue versus a microwave meal. I'm not trying to.
Do you grill often or no?
I have a smoker and I have one of those. I haven't yet this year. I will likely. I want to get a different. And I have one of those. It's called Blackstone things, but I need to get a different. I want to get one of those wood. Anyways, yeah, I like it. Right now, the biggest focus is getting baby Charlie's room set.
Oh yeah, Jason's got a baby girl coming soon. Very soon.
Very, very soon. So SOFI is just doing exactly what it needs to do. There's no issues here. I think this is just simply a rate play. You know, does the market decide? Does the market believe that there is a rate hike or not coming? It seems to be clearly undecided at the moment. So if it gets too cheap, then it gets bought up. If it goes too fast and the macro doesn't support it, then it gets kind of sold off. And that's what I think we're seeing literally in the charts. Net though, this is a pretty bullish setup, like a nice kind of round. This is a PG comment, but this is a nice rounded bottom here is what you would actually say. So a bowl, if you will, coming out of the umbrella. So this is a good setup technically. I think we've talked about this before, like into the 20s, low 20s on a quick extension, and then TBD, like does it actually hold the move? But again, this one sets up nearly the same. You know, if it's lagging the Robinhood for sure, but let's say it does something like this, and that comes into September, November, and then the sell-off is I don't know, something like this. Like, dude, that's going to be an ugly sell-off near term, but the chart in that instance, it'd probably be another 20% as well. It is still doing exactly what it needs to do from a technical process perspective. So it can break out here and then it's going to need to consolidate. The Lab of Rockets, Mr. Jack.
Sorry to interrupt real quick, but Mr. Rocket Lab above 70.
Let's go, baby. I mean, this is
$266 million contract from the Air Force.
I have no idea if that's a lot or a little. All I know is like Neutron's not even really here, right? And so, okay. That's about what we were facing it at before.
Dude, let's go.
Space Crew is at a very good technical level for some dip buys. I think a lot of things really are. But dude, again, I can look at this and I'd be like, look, we're at least 75, 80, which is like real fast.
Dude, it was at 95.
I'm saying like, yeah, this is a buy. This is probably one of those screaming buys.
But have it to push back a little.
No, but I mean, but with from a trading perspective.
Sure, but if SpaceX has like a 10% day down, I feel like that could hurt the whole space trade again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying from a trading perspective, which is like, so time horizon months, not years here, like weeks to months, to months. We are not talking about years, right? This is. So that time frame, expect some short-term games, and if you don't take them, well, then you know that's a you problem. But
but I also agree with you because the stock has normalized itself from 75 to 95 all year until this recent decline, which feels a lot more like high beta momentum drawdown. If the semis come back, the high beta name should piggyback a little bit off of it, right? Like a rocket.
Exactly. And that's why I brought in IWM from the top, which is something I don't always do. And I was like, this is what is the isn't there a look at this? Okay, so I didn't even look at this. There's another ticker, RSPT. This Equalate Tech stock. I mean, that's a pretty clean break and base also. So this is again the broadening within tech, the space ETF, whatever you want to do. Technically, this is a good level. I have a breakdown. I have a retest here of prior break. I mean, this is, dude, I don't know what to say. Like, this is support. This is a retest of support. This is a picture perfect test and react. And now we're having an extension. This is as textbook as you get. So yeah, I'm in this trade. I'm in this trade from like Friday or whatever it is, from this close, and I haven't touched it. Literally from right here. I think I texted the crew. I was like, I bought some rocket company. I don't know.
Yeah, look, I bought 1,000 shares of this at 67 during the tariff drawdown that I haven't sold. So I mean,
nice.
I think this, or not the tariff drawdown, the Iran war thing. Like, now obviously it's gone up and it's gone down, but like 150 to 60 feels a little aggressive, even though like I get it, but it doesn't have to go back to 150. But seeing this go back to 85, 90 to your point is not great. But I think it also is still sentiment, dude, because if Micron has a 10% red day, I feel like every high beta name just follows that right after.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And like you just said, this is my point, is like, I'm not necessarily saying we're going to all-time highs right away, but I am saying, and I said this, I believe, on my Monday stream or some stream, I don't know, some recent stream, is that like, maybe it was your Tuesday. We're closing in on a bottom, and I think that bottom has occurred. Is it the bottom? Dude, nobody can say that, right? You just don't know. But from a trading perspective, all you can do, and an investing perspective, all you can do is identify where a bottom might occur and see if price starts to react there. And literally, that's exactly what's just happened for a lot of these specific names. Not Microsoft, not Amazon, not Google, not your Mag 7s, not CRM, not ServiceNow, not any of the SaaS apocalypse name. I'm not going to say that for any of those, not a single one. But all of these, yeah, we could say that.
All right. Emit is the bottom. That's crazy.
That
is crazy.
Technically, I'm the bottom. He's still.
That's okay. That's even crazy. That's even though that's Rocket Lab 72.
You can switch if you want to put me on, and you can be on bottom. That's fine.
This is ridiculous.
If you're tired of being on top all the time, dude, somebody's gonna clip that. Damn it!
Of course they are. You're in the prime content, dude. Do you know? Hold on, before we do AMD, do you know what? Do you know what show the character Goku is from?
Goku?
Yeah.
Isn't that It's.
Don't look at the chat.
I almost said Akira. It's Dragon Ball Z.
Damn.
Right? What did you say?
Okay. I thought it was Naruto.
Naruto. Oh, that's because you're young. You're younger. I think
some people said it's because I'm stupid. I like your excuse better.
No, I think I have a full decade on you, bro. It's possible. I don't actually know.
It's because I'm young. That's the reason. It's because I'm young. Okay, AMD.
AMD. So yeah, back at the top. So back to the highs. This whole thing here, like a lot of these more recent news, look, this is not one where it's discounted like at all. This is one where strength is held. And I think this is a different type of situation. So was it a discount? No. Was it ever broken down? And no, actually, it wasn't either. So this is really constructive. The one thing I can say, like, decidedly about AMD is, like, look, the truth here is that if you look around, like you listen to the headlines that are happening in general, did I pause this? The truth is that AMD is in fact gaining a lot of traction in the enterprise and in the data center. A lot. The projects, the deals, the partnerships for AMD are at an unprecedented rate for that space. You know, and it's kind of like this paradigm shifting moment that re-rates them, right? But the risk is that they, again, don't actually follow through on it, because the multiple re-rating has decidedly happened already. So at this point, there's no more asymmetric upside bet. This is all about execution. And I think, you know, with no reason to think that they don't execute right now, this is what we see in the stock price, is that it holds its ground, but it's also not necessarily breaking out completely. Although this setup is that it likely sees $1 trillion market cap before earnings. So that said, this is like 615, 620s, right into this area as your next target. Assuming that this can get through, that's exactly what this looks like. Does it hold? I couldn't tell you from there. That's the target. Can it come back and retest that from here? Absolutely. That would also be perfectly fine. And then see how this goes. But if AMD is trading within like 615, around 615 on earnings, it's kind of going to be a crapshoot. I have 650 upside, and then a retest downside would be about 550, which means that I feel like that would price it near perfectly and set it up for at best case scenario for not at best, for a sideways reaction on earnings. But these are the upside levels here. Once this is through 550 and holding, I think you're okay. If it can't get through, back to the downside. Downside here is 440, 450s on AMD near term.
Okay. Rock Lab 73 after hours. The street is really liking this news by them. Yeah.
Oh, 70. It's higher.
Yeah, it's higher. Sorry. Let's get some of the Max 7s out of the way, and then we will get officially into audience requests.
Chat, is there a leverage Rocket Lab ticker that I need to buy right now? Is there one of those? Does that exist?
Dude, you're like the South Koreans right now. You see a 3% move, you're like, it should be 6%. Where's my 2x leverage?
Should be 6%.
Should be 6%.
I'm joking. Okay, what's next?
All right, so let's do the Max 7s, then we'll get to the other tickers. Meta. Let's start with Meta.
Meta. No, not ready. Yeah, no. It hasn't actually moved. This is another one where it's like, dude, I think we did this last week, and like it felt weird, you know, like a deep discount, 520s or whatever. From a technical perspective, it was pretty basic. But this is not out of the downtrend. So 690 remains resistance right over here, down to 658. Look, if this is my downtrend here, I mean, that's a near picture perfect short right on that pop. I don't really know what else to say about that other than hopefully that's the low. And that means that you will essentially look for that $600 kind of like round number to act as your general support. I'll get you a little bit more explicit really quick. 597, 615 to 597 right in here. This is support. So when I say short, I mean very near term short. I don't mean long term. This is resistance up at 658 right now. So as long as this is trading below 658 Meta, it's not really going back up, but that's a pivot in terms of a trigger perspective. So meaning like from here, yep, expect this right into 700s. If it rejects like this, expect this right into your roughly 600s. At that point in time, that trade's over. This is going sideways again. It's just more consolidation. Eventually, maybe this pops out and breaks out of this downtrend. But was it last week? No. it's still in the same spot.
Okay.
Next,
Microsoft.
Microsoft. So Microsoft is constructive, but also not out of the weeds. So 410.66 to 425 is actually resistance here. At that point in time, it's going to line up with the 200-day simple, which is right there. So I think this is mostly done pulling back before earnings, unless there's another headline. It already had kind of like its initial pullback and held. So that entry, like around this 370s, is fine. I'll just say this from a, I think this is going to be from a technical candlestick perspective. Yeah. So week to week, this is kind of like that prevailing downtrend right now that you want to see it get through. I like this a little better than Meta, but only because it's towards the lower end of its range. Over 407, then this is making another move. It's not a massive move, though. Let me just take all this down for just a minute. Here. Super clean. Week to week. Very choppy, very small moves. 405.99.
Do you think on earnings they need to say they're developing a chip? Like, do you think there's something fundamental? Because remember, they popped at 470. Yeah, but the 469 pop was because of that Anthropic chip collaboration, and then that move completely faded when the market stopped seeing progress.
It's about, I don't know if it's collaboration, but it's like the sale, like selling it. So it's their chip. And I think that was right into that initial resistance area, 469, whatever. I think that's the first, like, oh, okay, this is going to think of all the Mag 7s. I honestly think that this is going to be like your most underrated. And like from here, price appreciation long term could be the best risk reward. But I'm also decidedly in that same breath not saying it's right here right now going to go, immediately to the upside. I don't have that on the charts. I have that this has to get through 405, 406 or 406, 407, and then you have a quick $10 move like this. But before, like that's still possible before earnings within the next week. But that's all I have. So from there, I mean, take it for what it is. It's still going to be, it's 2.5% upside. I mean, if it's really over that, maybe we could talk. Well, I'll tell you, if it's really over that, then you have these areas. But I don't have a definite, like, this is happening just yet. What I do have is that this week is inside last week's range, so I'm out of time. So it's an indecision week, if you will. I think the whole thing is when this gets over this 405 level, then this initiates the next turn, the next move. And in the meantime, look, as long as it's over 395, I would say if you were to trade it like this, very simply, stop loss 395.87 after you trigger over 405, and that sets you up for this type of move, this type of extended trade, which would be really, really good. But that sets it up like this. Again, risking 1 to make 3. That's your picture perfect risk to reward from a trading perspective ratio. Anybody that trades knows this is the magic number. But that's what this sets up as. Watch this one, because it's very possible, and it's closing in on that initial stop. So if this continues through, but again, this needs to have this happen, and your entry is more like here at 405.
Google.
The Googs.
You got earnings tomorrow. I mean, what are you thinking?
This one, so this one is the one that could probably change the sentiment for all the Mag 7s. So I think what the charts tell me right here, right now, is like, no, the Mag 7s aren't ready. But it's also probably because they're waiting. They're all waiting for the Googs, and that could instantly change the game tomorrow. In either direction. So, and why I think NVIDIA is having the close that it's had right now, and why I think a lot of the chips are getting the close that they're getting right now today, has nearly everything to do with Google reporting tomorrow. So, when you think about how does the market work, it's all going to be about CapEx. The entire trade is based on the hyperscaler CapEx spend budgets. Whether or not Google does well, it actually doesn't matter. Like if they say that for the AI trade, if they say, oh, we're increasing CapEx by 30%, what do you think is going to happen to NVIDIA, AMD, Intel? That's what we're seeing right here, right now. And so while that's what's in the charts right now, I'm just saying, just know that after Google reports, it's possible that this guy does take the whole cohort down. But even in that case, again, I don't think it's that bad, because even if Google flops, you still have Amazon right behind it. You still have Meta, and then you still have like Microsoft, and you even have Tesla, which by the way is also reporting and is a big CapEx spender of AI. Just saying, it's not like you have one shot at bat here for all these hyperscalers that will affect the entire AI trade. So for those reasons, I think it's a general bullish sentiment for the picks and shovels, not necessarily the Mag 7 right here, right now, but this is at support. 310 is the downside. Like if this near term 340 area breaks, expect to see about 310 on Google, potentially briefly breaching to like 300, but that's a buy if you see it. And then if conversely, if this gets to like 400, it's right at resistance, so that would be a sell also, technically, or it would be a trail out, you know, get ready to lock in some profits. If the bears step in, I would be more cautious than optimistic at 400, but this does have room higher. Whether or not you buy it at 350 or 310 or 300, I don't think that matters long term. This chart still goes to 4s plus. It just is what it is. So for those reasons, I would actually be very neutral on Google itself or earnings specifically, because it doesn't matter to me. Like if I look at this chart, whenever I see a chart like this, where it's like, it can go higher, it's at resistance. It can go $50 higher, it's going to be at resistance. It can go $50 lower, it's going to be at support. If it goes $50 lower, they're going to buy it. If it goes $50 higher, they're probably going to sell it. So it's neutral.
Yeah, it would be not that surprising if Google just stayed flat on earnings, right?
Yeah.
No. But obviously what they say about CapEx will affect the market.
The whole market, right? And Tesla.
Yeah. Amazon.
Tesla's a little interesting here. Did they report yet? It's tomorrow. What time?
Actually, let's do Tesla first, because yeah, this one has been kind of in a downtrend. They have earnings right tomorrow. It's right there, right? There.
Do I need to buy Tesla?
You usually buy Tesla before earnings? I don't think you do that.
I don't. Yeah, no, Tesla I don't think moves on earnings. Usually, earnings is not really that big of a catalyst, right? So like here's the last earnings. Like that's I mean, decidedly a nothing burger. Here's another one, also completely flat. Here's another one, basically flat. What is this? This guy right here, it goes up, but it was kind of going to do that anyways. This one flat for like 48 hours. It doesn't move because Tesla does like delivery announcements and they constantly, it's like Costco. They constantly update what's going on with the company like on a monthly basis. It shouldn't move that much on earnings, like any stock like that. Which makes it historically a very good candidate to sell some premium, which in this case would be resistance around 445, 450, and support around 320. So yeah, I don't know that I need to go out and, to your point, on a limb and buy it, but this is the range. Again, 445 resistance to just under 320 support. This support comes from this area right here, which was a very critical breakout in the past, more recently. Yeah, that's a big, massive consolidation. So I wouldn't be surprised.
You like it at 370, basically.
I don't hate it. Yeah, I don't hate it. Like, what's the downside here? Because downside's about 15%. Upside is also about 15%. So it's, again, more neutrality, but it's interesting. What's interesting about it is like this, and I don't use trend lines this much, is if I connect these last 1, 2, 3 lows, you know, this is where you would expect it from a trend perspective, like uptrend, to hold, because this is actually in an uptrend, even though it's like it's up and consolidating, meaning like your consolidation is more like this way, and then your uptrend as defined by this, right, is still this whole thing. So the trajectory here is still to do this, but as you can see, that could be a very long time away. And again, backing out on a monthly scale, like here's that kind of monthly scale, 270 or 300 thereabouts is going to come from this area. Right now we're looking at like this. What are we looking at? This is that 315 or 415. So yeah, we're looking at the potential of this whole kind of like upward slope doing this. And so yeah, it's not, any of this is still resolves itself this way. That's what I'm looking at. As long as it doesn't break down way below 300, yeah, this is that spot that I'm talking about. As long as it doesn't break down below this, then we're okay. So any dip in this area, honestly, is perfectly fine.
Okay, Amazon.
You know, charts change perspective quite a bit when you look at a monthly scale, huh? Like this looks perfectly fine. You know, channel up, no issues here whatsoever. We're coming off of this consolidation, nice little break in here. Even on that, there's a secondary consolidation right in here, which is exactly what that kind of retest is. So this is from this, it is a break, retest, and react. And now this looks like this. But again, that's a very long-term chart. So we'll take it a little bit lighter. Same general concept here. That first pullback into 225 was like beautiful. Just like I was saying earlier on some of the other charts, when you have a prevailing kind of like downtrend, meaning like prevailing is near term, so a downtrend, you get your first break. It's not always the one to chase, but the textbook would tell you, hey, look, wait for that trend to actually get retested. And if you do see something like this, that can be kind of statistically measured and give you a little bit of confluence and context for a bounce. I mean, this is beautiful. So from here, this can do anything like that. And as long as this is holding, call it 235, she's good. She's good. But be patient on this one as well.
Okay. I think we can get into audience requests now. We can do a minute on the clock.
I didn't say support. So support would be like low 220s, maybe just slightly below that. Sorry, guys, for the people listening and not watching, support is in this general area with a little bit of a gap down here, which again, wouldn't change the investor's position. It would just be like, all right, we'll pick it up again.
Okay. We can go to a minute and get into the rest of these tickers. Let's start off with a stock that I think has held up relatively well through this drawdown. But, you know, the question is going to be if the semis rally, can it really move with it? Palantir.
Palantir.
107 to 130 and holding 130, I feel like has been pretty decent price action.
I mean, not too shabby, my dude. Not too shabby. I think she goes sideways. Like, this one doesn't really change my sentiment on where we were either. It's holding, like, there's your 20 and 50-day SMAs here. I think this is okay. I think this is like a clean little area to trade against right in here. It did not get through resistance. But to your point, this thing has not broken down. So it is up at resistance. If it can get through, what is this? 140. I think my sentiment has been, if it can get through, let's say something like this, then you would expect to see a big move into the high 160s, at which point I would be significantly more cautious than optimistic. But that is still in the cards. If it does not, and I just paused this because we're out of time again. If it does not, downside is, I mean, you're near support. So I would say, like, all of this you can look at as prior buyers. And so, like, as I go across, this is going to set me up for a little bit of a, what is that, 130 level. So even if it does this, I think it holds and eventually builds into this. If it gets a push up into earnings, that's fine. That's where we are. The thing about this is that if it doesn't do that, expect that this is still possible to see that prior kind of like 114 area again, but that's going to be support. So 114 remains support, big support. It's struggling at resistance, but this is going to come down to earnings, decidedly.
ANET.
Dude, I liked ANET last week when I was like going through them, and then like the very next day, it took a huge dump. But it's basically back to where it was. I think it's fine. This was like, what was this? I think this was like the broad kind of thesis. It actually retested this prior breakout level pretty clean. I like it. My one thing I would say is, like, Arista, historically, this is the cloud leader. I don't know, 1 minute's a little fast. I have stuff to say on this stock. I don't have time to say it. I think it's getting the earnings move. It's still into the 200s, potentially before earnings. But we don't know that they're going to follow through on their product. They're in a challenged position from a networking perspective. They are late to the market, and they are not leading the way that they used to. But executives, management, very good track record. Very good track record. So no real reason to second guess them yet. And for those reasons, I think that the stock goes up ahead of earnings, but on earnings, it may or may not. It's going to come down to how they execute. Next.
MRVL.
Well, beautiful dip. Beautiful dip. So this is, again, so what this is an extension from the prior kind of consolidation right in here. 211 is current resistance. If it can get through 211, did we say 211 last time? This is probably on my stream. Yeah, 180s to 211 is in the cards. Now at resistance, if it can get through this quickly, 250 plus, 250 to 265. There, I said it. So you're here in this area, upside, about to trigger. So you're not triggering yet for the next move. You've already got this move here completed. The next one is like this. Has not triggered yet. So what you need is another full day's kind of like break and trade over to call it 212.
Okay. Service now.
Which means that 180s is still support. Service meow is nope. Told you, don't ask me the software if you want to hear something good. But look, I think it's the rotation right now. And we're seeing that. I think it's Google. I think it's anticipation of Google's reports and the hyperscalers. I think it's just sentiment, strictly sentiment. And so while software's had some nice pops recently, we're seeing that get, you know, taken profit in front of something like earnings. Holy crap. They report right away. So support is 72.50. Resistance is 122 now. The critical pivot is 110 on service now, which it is below. This 89, this 85, 95 kind of general zone is near-term support that's trying to act as future support. We'll see. It's only been a few months. I don't think that's long enough to really say one way or the other that this is going to be the bottom.
Oracle.
No. Have at it, my dude. Like 121. There she is. I mean, I think we scouted this out last time. I don't have a problem with Oracle, actually. Not here, not now. I think it's at the depths of despair. So have at it. I think your downside here is to have at it because you still have time between now and when they report. So which is not until like did that say September? No, end of August. So there's a long time between now and then. You can get all kinds of headlines between now and then, between, you know, projects being delayed, you know, OpenAI falling out of favor, whatever. It doesn't matter. But this setup here now, this is what I think I spec'd out before is like a bit of a liquidity grab, a breach below near-term resistance, or I'm sorry, near-term support here. And if it does get back over 132, cool. Then in that case, yeah, you're in for a little bit of a dead cat bounce. But make no mistake, this is not an uptrend. It is new lows. But it is a local low. So
IONQ getting a bit of a move after hours. I am not sure why. That's up 2%. Rock Lab did hit 74, so that one's still moving.
Who said to overlap Oracle with Enron's chart? What is that? Stop it.
Dude, if Oracle's Enron, we've got some bigger issues in this AI.
Yeah.
Broadcom.
Broadcom looks good. Yeah. So I think Broadcom's gonna be the same boat as NVIDIA. So I think these are good for a bit of a bounce. Broadcom, clear uptrend. I think it's consolidating. This 370 area is like, and that is becoming this near-term support. Again, if you zoom out a little bit more, you can kind of see it. This was that prior consolidation right over here. And if I just took a clean line straight across, I mean, that's not bad. It's lining up with the 200-day. What I will say is that your resistance is very, it's not too far away. So 394 upside resistance. If it can get through that, then you have targets a little bit higher. So I would say if you can get through 395, then you're in for a big bounce further, closer to 450s than anything. And I think that this is in process of happening right now. So I do see Broadcom going a little bit higher from here, from a percentage wise. I'm not sure what that is, but from here, I'd say like 10-15% potential before earnings, with support being 360s. So you don't want to see this make new lows. You don't want to see this below 360.
Corning.
Or you wait till it's below 360. One of the two. before you buy it. GLW, like I said, I think that was a really dumb headline, and like some of these are. I'm gonna try and stick in my lane. I have lots of opinions on this one. I really like the stock. I think that was dumb, but I also understand that, you know, maybe not everybody knows. So at 165 or so, this is that prior breakout area that I kind of, and just kind of highlighting, acted as support since then. So this was resistance. Just gonna put a big there, resistance before, and then this is support. Now we want to know, is this support or gonna be resistance, essentially? So we call this an SR flip. And so this is a big pivot on Corning right here, right now, that if this goes any higher, it's going to be slingshot, like beach ball underwater, poof, you know, to the moon kind of thing, like overnight. You don't know. Downside support here is deep. So it is expensive. Support is 135s down to $100. Just putting it out there. That's what it is. So if you can, we're looking for a continuation on Corning here now, literally here now. And from here, I don't want to see it lose this general area. Again, if this can go up, I can see it consolidate. That's fine. But I don't want to see, you don't want to see this. You don't want to see it like break, hold, and then come back down. That would be no fun. That's how that would happen. All right. Did I lose the clock?
Sorry, that was muted.
No, we're going pretty fast here, huh?
That's good. We're getting through a lot of tickers. Doing good. Nokia.
Bye. Next.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, like you catch me on a couple. I think have at it, right? We actually spec this out start to finish, like over the last few weeks. Every time you've asked me about this, I've given you this exact level. Here we are at the level, breach slightly, retest this $10, reacting right in front of earnings. This is what you look for. Yes. And you have a very clean, oh, dude, did it make all this move after hours?
Did it?
Sorry.
That SMCI? Yeah, that's SMCI. Dude, it's up 3% after. I didn't even see that. Wow.
I mean, you know, there it is, though. This was exactly what we've been talking about for multiple weeks on end.
Yeah.
This came from, you know, and sometimes you say it like, you know, there's a ticker that I don't like to go through a lot that starts with a K and ends with an eel. And I like people would ask for that one all the time and be like, dude, it's 4. I don't know what to tell you. It's 4. And it was like 650. It's like, yeah, it's like 50% lower. You know, that's exactly what happened. And once you get the level, I mean, then you get the reaction and like, yeah, go. Like we waited this long. Take the shot.
Okay.
Now this one has earnings very soon, like a couple days.
It also
You
helps to
guys
know that
stop buying it after hours. Stop it. You're pushing it.
well, the thing is, it's still a $70 billion company, so I don't know if retail's
Yeah.
doing it, but the Jensen has a very strong partnership with them, $1 billion invested. So it's good to know NVIDIA supporting, but again, can that 14 level get broken? The call options, we talked about this last week, are just ridiculous for 25 strike Jan 2027 as well.
I mean,
someone.
I think that if you were to, so we're taking a little bit extra time on this one, but if you were to like think about that for a second, it's basically worth a call option. Nokia, I think in my mind, it is literally worth a call option. Does that mean meaning you can take a shot? It's very possible that you're going to be wrong. I mean, very possible. So in that instance, it's worth a call option. And I think that's totally fair to risk less to potentially make more. I think this is a good candidate for something like that in general. 25, I don't know what to say about that, but I think it's worth a call option. Leap type call option.
Celestica.
Yes. Bye. It's happening, dude. All of these things that gap like this. So it is a networking super cycle to me. Celestica, Sienna, yes, up 10%. This is day one. It's up a lot. So what's happening on Celestica? Just an aside. This can come down slightly because it's had a big day. So today, this is about 320. If Celestica holds 320 and then bounces like this, then I think you see this 360 type area. So 320 to 360 is not a bad trade by itself alone. That doesn't even get this chart out of the weeds yet. But I think, right here, right now, is it possible that this just continues on to whatever that is, like 370? I actually do. Like, it doesn't have to pull back. This is an instance on these type of stocks where it's either going to be one of two things. One, they're going to break out and they're going to retest, and the price is going to react like we just saw on some of these others, or it's just going to continue to go. And in that case, you have confirmation of continuation. And I think that in this instance, even though there's a session gap like from overnight, that is fine. This is a institutional grade type setup. We call it a gap and go, meaning like, okay, not all gaps need to be filled, guys. And the way this works, it's a gap, and then you have like a pre-market kind of level, and it just goes. So this is a very typical thing to see in price action. This is why when everybody asks me about gaps and stuff like that, I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. It's a very specific thing. This can continue. It doesn't have to pull back. That said, if it does pull back, we're not talking about retesting the entire thing. You basically want to see somewhere around here and then continue on.
Qualcomm.
Hey, can I ask you? I was typing something today and I was like, it just kind of like came out. Have you ever heard the phrase a situationship?
Yes. That's a common phrase.
Okay, yeah. So
are you about to say you're in a situationship with Qualcomm?
Well, absolutely. So my note to my crew was, my group today was, if I was a true gambling man, I'd put a little something on my toxic situationship. Qualcomm, the one who wins my heart back every few weeks just to rip it out and stomp it on the dirt. But yeah,
to be fair, you've cheated on Qualcomm many times as well.
That's what I'm saying. Like, my one true love we know is Hoodie, but Qualcomm is like, she's real far up there. She's the one that's like, shiny to me right now. And right now, I think this is worth a shot, like, decidedly. So from here to here, risk is the same. My levels exactly right in there. So retest. Now, if this can get through 175 on this stock, if this is trading through 175, I forgot to start the timer. With this catalyst at the end of this month, I think it'd be 190 real fast, which is a great trade. It could even be 180 tomorrow for all I know. Or by the end.
Was that 240? I think that's the question you're even at. Like, was 240 a fluke, or was that?
No. It was a selling news. It was selling news, right? Like, so this whole thing about the AI, so a little over time, but the AI 250, 300, now 350s, the GPU type chip, and now C1000 CPU compete. It's like I've been saying for a long time. It's not that these things aren't unknown. It's that at any given point in time, the market will give this company credit for that type of revenue. On the investor day, basically what they said in my mind is that they basically pushed this all out and said, hey, look, it won't be till Q4 fiscal of this not this quarter, but the following quarter. So they basically said, don't expect to see anything crazy this quarter, but by the quarter after that, we should be on and cracking, which means that between now and then is when you want to start accumulating. And from a technical perspective, if you're measuring from this last time right here, 120, right here, right now, this is that primo, that's the technical sweet spot for a pullback. Now, if it doesn't hold this and they just thoroughly disappoint, let's say, for example, if Qualcomm comes out and reports by the end of the month, you know, oh, we were wrong about the bottom being in for cell phones. We were, you know, off on our GPU kind of trajectory. All the deals are still in the pipeline, but we're not actually booking it as fast as we thought, or maybe we're pushing some timelines out. This is probably going to 135, 120 straight up. And I think that's the risk, because that right there, it's the execution risk. The guy's been a CEO for, I think, 5 years, and the company as a company has a bad reputation for execution, meaning like the industry and the market don't believe that they're going to execute. But Christian's whole MO has been like, this is not your father's Qualcomm kind of mentality. Like, and now it's come down to, well, okay, prove it. And so that difference between what he's saying they're going to do and what the market is crediting them is the gap between an asymmetric. It's the gap between a fundamental shift in valuations to a dying cell phone chip company. And so that's the trade. That's literally the trade. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. But it's do you take the bet or not? And I think just knowing that, yeah, there's downside, there's risk with any trade that you take, any investment that you take. Is it going to zero? No shot, right? Like, is this company going back up? I don't think so. Not anytime soon. But so from that perspective, I think it's at least worth a bit of risk.
Okay. Vertiv, VRT.
I think I got the wrong drink. It's okay.
We should do Celsius after this because of that.
No. I've been doing this. It's called Recess. You ever tried these?
No, I've never had those.
No. They're like adaptogen drinks. It's supposed to calm you down. I'm always a little hypey. Vertiv.
Oh, it's a mocktail.
Is it a mocktail? No.
That's what it says.
Does this work? Was this a crowd reaction? Did you hear anything?
I like that. I need to get that incorporated. You know, that was not the crowd reaction when I said I got drunk off a mocktail last year. Because apparently people said, Amit, there's no way that's possible because there's no alcohol in a mocktail. I was like, what are you talking about? I was drunk. They're like, that was probably a placebo effect. I was like, that's probably right. But anyway, Vertiv.
Was that the reaction you're looking for?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. We're back to normal, guys. So Vertiv, I had to give you your own, let you finish and then give you your sound effect, right? So Vertiv is actually, I think it's good. This, let me redo this. It's okay. Let's see. It looks fully intact. I mean, it's down quite a bit from the highs. I'd have to reset this, but just from a glimpse, like this is a break here, big break. It's one retest here, two, and holding. I think you're at least going to 330s, which in this instance means that you have resistance around 327.55. That's your resistance area. So as long as this general area is holding, assuming that's the lows, you can, looks like you got to get a little bit higher, but 326 to 340 is your upside resistance. And you just came off support already.
Okay. Celsius.
I mean, what are we doing here? What's wrong with this stock? Almost. I mean, you might as well. How about it? It's just not. It's not in season. I don't know. No. We already decided what the real Monster Beverage 2.0 was, and it wasn't. It was not, in fact, Celsius. We already made that distinction. What are we doing here? So I'm not gonna buy this one.
People really like it.
I mean, I haven't bought in a Celsius in a long time. And dude, I buy some wonky drinks sometimes, let me tell you. But I mean, 20s, it's in the 20s. I mean, this is your general support area, but this, I don't like this view. Like having dipped in there. So I think you basically get to retest this area. What is that? That is a legit, seems to be a legitimate session gap. I don't know if it is or isn't. How far back is that?
That is a year, about a year and a half.
Yeah, low 20s.
Yeah.
I don't know. How's the coconut water doing? That's the one, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's doing way better. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, what's happening here? Is that even a chart, or is it just a straight line vertical?
That's kind of crazy, dude. That's how, I mean, Celsius was, but then again, I wonder if what happens to Celsius in 24 happens to cocoa water here.
Possibly. I have not bought any coconut water in a while. Have you? I'm just
I've
looking.
not.
I've been told to buy the pressed version, but best I can. Dude, maybe we should go long Starbucks. Have you tried these?
Dude, you have a lot of drinks. I've never had nitro. I've heard of that. The people have enjoyed that in the morning.
Dude, when we were in Chicago, there was a bourbon version of that nitro. The taste is supposed to taste like dude, it tastes like alcohol. It's like, no way. It's crazy. All right, what's the next one?
Netflix.
Did we I mean, I feel like we got no. So yeah, so the chart is real close. I had this low 60s. I mean, 65 is pretty, it's decent, but no, it's not there yet. I think you could sell some puts on Netflix, probably in that like mid 50s range. Right now you're gonna have this decidedly $75 resistance. Even before that, you're gonna have to get through this little area. And I will just say what this sets up as is potentially bouncing up to just over 70 before it makes the trek into the low 60s, high 70s, high 50s.
Okay.
But it's close. It's almost there.
Credo.
Didn't look at it today. My assumption is, yeah, this is yes. This looks good. It's a break retest. You just want to hold 215 from here, or 214. From here, 214, got to hold. That's all I have to say on this one. It already hit support. If it loses 214, sub 165 is where she goes next. But for right now, it becomes a momentum trade, potentially all the way back up to the highs. Again, this is another one where like, dude, why is this thing? Yeah, there you go. Like from a long-term perspective, I will give you this where that feels like down 40%. That is literally down 40%. But what I'm kind of like highlighting right now is that you have this consolidation, break, retest, react. It can go sideways for a while, but this sets up as the next move like this. That's how they all are. And why I'm like, we could very, very possibly be back, baby. We could be back. But yeah, I mean, yeah, 40% down seems like a lot.
Especially these guys acquired one of the photonics companies back in February.
They did, yeah. What was this one? This one also 60% drawdown. but very similar, where it's like, okay, here's your consolidation break, retest. Break, right? Retest. It's actually not even that. It's like, here's your retest. First retest starts in this area, and it takes a while sideways before it actually. So I think, like, my point right now is that a lot of these look just like this, where we have like a clear break retest. And this first one retest, it might just be that this is that, and it could, you know, bounce and then come back and then bounce and come back before it actually makes a move. And you could see a couple retests, which ends up being the kind of sideways price action. So I'm like, that's literally where I am at on most of these. All right.
Novo.
This one? NVO or NBIS?
No, Novo.
Oh, okay. You sure?
Yes.
Look at the charts for a second. Do you like this chart?
I'm
Or you
giving
like
you what
this
the
chart?
audience wants.
Audience,
If you want to
Well,
reject the
you like
audience,
this chart,
you can do that. But
or you like this chart?
look, if you don't want to do Novo, you can piss off a bunch of people. That's fine. I don't, you know.
I would rather Lily. But yeah, I mean, maybe, you know, Novo reminds me of Intel in the 20s. I'll just say that. It kind of feels like people have been trying to buy this dip for the last year. Like, no, the last 2 years. No, 2025, 2026. Yeah, for the last 2 years, people have been actively trying to buy this dip. I'm certain of it. I don't know. I don't know that it's done. It's at a spot. It's a lot of support here. I think you could take a shot, but here I'm about to run out of time. Let me give you a resistance. You're at resistance. So no, like, it's okay, but like this actually, I don't think you have to be in a rush to do this. I think this goes like this to 54, and then this looks like it pulls back. It might even do this, and then if it can do this, cool. But realistically, it's got to be over 55. So about $55 right in here. That is your, above that is the point where I would say, okay, this is a go. In the meantime, between now and then, it's actually doing kind of what it needs to do, but unless there's something that I'm missing on actual earnings, which is possible, I don't see this ready to roll right here, right now. It looks like you might get another big consolidation like that somewhere in here that ultimately does resolve to the upside, but that could be a while. I don't hate it, but it is what it is. You have to have a deep understanding on this one.
Okay, before we move forward, the chat would like you to close your fridge door.
I just saw that. Good call. Appreciate that, guys.
That OCD must have been going crazy for people. Okay, Zeta. I know you're not going to like it. Software.
I know. I mean, it's like, I feel like it got a little warmer in here. Like I need to turn the air conditioner on all of a sudden. No, Zeta is like Zeta is one of those charts we said last time was like stuck right here. Upside target, check the box. You're good. You're right into resistance up to, 22. This was ours, 22 and change. That's what happened. And it's stalled out. It's kind of like how it should. But this is decidedly your resistance area right here. That said, support's not that far away. Support's down in here. So it's literally stuck like in this kind of like general range. I wouldn't be opposed to it staying in this range, but like I said, you know, it's already made the first move. Now holding, expecting some consolidation. if and only if it's over 23, then you can see this 25, and then over that, cool. But we're a ways away from that. And then, you know, that's just where we are. So like, I think you can see this. Is that worth it? I don't know. Not until we're over here do we get this. And then it's not until we're way over that do you get that. In the meantime, if at any point you don't hold a level, expect these to go lower. It just happens to be that in this moment, there are a lot of little levels that kind of like overlap each other. And so I think that's what we're seeing. Like all of this is very possible, but this sets up very nicely for a lot of premium selling. So it's decidedly neutral. It's building. It's doing what it needs to do. Thankfully, it's holding. I don't see any violent sellers in here. So this is really going to come down to execution on earnings.
Okay, a couple of requests from the audience. Navitas.
Yeah, have at it. It's so again, I think this whole thing is going to come down to Google. Big pullback. Yes. So right back into this kind of general support area, which was resistance prior. Check this out. So, why did it do that? Goodness. So resistance, breakout over here. Let me just do this. Let's grab that straight across. You tell me, from everything you've learned, does this look like a decent spot to take a shot based off of this breaking through, and now here? It does indeed, right? It does indeed. So yes, to Navitas, for a trade, not an investment, not talking about that. You got it for continuation. You want to see this over 14. This one, we all know, extreme high beta. Very possible that this just gets out of control. Complete like unhinged price action. It's very possible, and it will likely be totally fake. But you know, it's a momentum move at this point, this early in its phase. I like it. For a trade, you don't want to see this below 8, but that's where support is. In the meantime, if it actually does continue, 22s is the next stop if this really does make a big bounce.
Amcor.
Yes. Support hit over 22,000 highs, which is right here. Perfect. Beautiful. Retest there. This is like that 220 level, 225 level on AMD, 415 level on TESI, coming right into a beautiful little like support area. Yes. The only thing is like you still have earnings to deal with. Double yes. This should be good. You want to see this continue through. If this is actually through 76, yeah, you're cooking. Near term, $60 is support. And from every perspective, this is just a nice little retest, pull back, hold, price reacts. We're good.
Kratos and Ondas. Can we do those two together?
Yes and no. Kratos, have at it. I don't know that Kratos. So Kratos right here, right now, I like it, right? They're going to report though. I think that it's possible that I think you get a little. So this isn't in the process. Kratos is in the process of bottoming. It can go deeper down to 35. But I think this is probably worth the shot as it is. Like I said, there's not like no downside possibility here. A lot of these at this point are going to come down to earnings, which is literally right around the corner. What Kratos says though, specifically them is very much like, I mean, well, they'll tell you that we will bottom in our Q3. So that they're coming into the low. So after this round of reports, I think this is if you don't already own this, I think you could selectively start accumulating on this one. It's got to get through. If it's over 57, if it's over 52, you're going to 56. If it's over 57, then you're going to 70s. That alone is a great trade, but I don't think that's all you're going to want to see out of this. I think you're going to want to see a little bit more.
Ondas. Had a good day.
Yeah, it did. Still, I need to see more out of this one. I don't know. I mean, if you're over 770, 780, like cool, then this looks like it's a bit of a reclaim. This is resistance, which was support that broke. So you want to see this get up here. That's actually going to be your resistance area, 890. If it can get through that, then 10. And then we'll see.
Okay. Oust robotics play. This one's taking a pretty big beat.
No, you missed it. That's good. That was good. That was a great one. Dang. I missed it too. That was the snipe of the century right there. It's 32. What? So I'm measuring this from, this is 2022. That would have been a good snipe. The high to this low. That puts you at this resistance right here. Previously on. You remember that when they used to do that previously? Anyways, this was resistance. Look at this. And you see it do this, even this, and then it finally broke. Big old break, but then pulls back. Do you guys see the theme? This is what we're seeing. So I want to see this on these type of, if you're in a company like this, I don't know this company from Adam, like at all. Sorry if your name's Adam. It's just a saying. But like it down 48%. Technically, it's a near picture perfect retest. Does it have to go totally vertical from here? No, it doesn't. But you know, from a structural perspective, this looks pretty good. This looks like you could actually get continuation right into that 49 type area. I will say that is going to be your resistance. So you want to be more cautious there than optimistic before thinking that it's going to take off to the 70, 80 level. But 70, 80 is in the cards here. And definitely if this is over 45, it's likely going to do that. I don't want to say this is a $120 company. What's going on here? That would be jumping the gun. What's the market cap on this guy?
It's small. It's like 3 billion. Or a little bit more.
Well, then
yeah,
it actually probably could be a $120 company. Actually.
Okay, I want to do like 7 more tickers. Then I'm going to let Jason get into his flow state, and he's just going to be running through names.
I mean, I got to give the crew credit today. They've actually got some really good ones. So like the Rocket Lab one I would have picked. We already hit my Corning. We already talked about Qualcomm. The things that I said are a perfect.
Okay, so let's get through these final audience requests, and then I'm going to let you freestyle. And if you've got any new names, you can give it to us. UNH.
Long and strong. Stay. Hold. Okay, next. I think something happened to my ticker. He goes, wait, did we even pull up a chart? No. Yeah, no, you're good. We've had this chart on for a while. So 420 constitutes a move into the 476s. This is in resistance. You kind of just want to let it be. As long as it's holding 420, it's very good. Slow moving, constructive setup. You should see 475s on this eventually, probably before the next earnings. And yeah, it's on the mend.
SpaceX.
I have to consult the White House quant on this. I'm actually not allowed to have any opinion on this.
Why? Oh, because dude, he crushed that short.
Dude,
Absolutely crushed it.
absolutely destroyed it. Yeah, so 118 is there. Every
Do
level
you think
I've
this is going below 100? I think is the question right here.
Well, it's definitely not going up yet. Definitely not going up yet. You have to be over 130 again for me to even consider it. But that was, I think, the IPO price. So over 133, I think you can consider it. Well, all I'm seeing right now is nothing but lower lows and lower highs. I mean, this is like a reverse staircase to heaven. Whatever the opposite of heaven is, that's where this is going until proven otherwise. It's just on the same trajectory here. I don't know why. Oh, yeah, I do know why, but you know, it is what it is. So I think you let it bottom. You know, one that's bottom maybe, or CRBS. What is it? Cerebras.
CBRS.
BRS. I don't know. I saw this one up. No, okay, not yet. It's getting closer. Then the bottom, the bounces are getting real violent on this guy. I was just like, not quite, but that could be squeezy. Yeah, whoever said AOI, that was a trade here. So I took this just last week, I think, for sure. So like when I started this with like beta, high beta, if we're gonna bottom, there are a handful of companies that I think you take the shot on. Highest beta is gonna be, it's not the highest. Amidst Bloom is up there. Like AAOI. If you don't know AXTI, and then if you don't remember DigitalOcean, those three, like these are the ones right here where like if the AI trade gets another bid, this is just like it's already happening. I'm already at my first target. Just so you know. But that said, my next target from here is more like 160s. So on AAOI, if this can continue here, I'm looking at 165 plus, which even from this moment forward, like this is great. And this is a really good risk to reward right out of this, if this can get out of this consolidation. So what I'm saying is that this big orange box, that's consolidation. We're going back to the retest the highs if it can, and it can hold. That's the move has not even started. That's what I'm saying. The move hasn't even really started. After a 15% day today, it hasn't even started. So I think these type of tickers, like you can have some serious oomph, if you will, that if this is going to happen, these are the ones that you want to look for.
Okay. Cypher.
Same as IREN, I think, but without the news catalyst. A lot of the neoclouds in general, like did really good this last couple of days, right? This also looks like it's going to be coming up into resistance, though. Yeah, if this can get through 25, it's going to look good. I have 25, then it can get to 30, but you're at a resistance level right now. Also, what I would say is this trade hasn't really started either. So for those reasons, like this guy, I want to see it hold over 23. This is a very high beta stock. It could do this. No, this trade, I mean, from the lows, sure, you have a good move, but if you're looking to take a trade on this, like a big move, technically this hasn't started either. I think a little bit low. I think they're all a little bit lower quality here, but it's like you want to go high beta, you're going to have to go a little bit lower quality for this.
Mark Rainey, thank you for the super chat. And Mark Patty, thank you for the super chat. Lemonade.
Interesting pick. I don't know. It's AI healthcare, right?
Insurance.
Sorry. So one is in vogue, one is not. So resistance I have currently at 80 down to 74. Yeah, I mean, so this reports at the end of the month. It's a very good retest. I'm gonna take this stupid timer off now since we're going like rapid fire. 62 is a decent level. It's a nice retest. Now it's over all your SMAs, significant SMAs. It can get a little choppy here. The biggest thing is that you see the distance between these simple moving averages expand. And as long as that is to the upside, as long as that's happening, then you're good. Which means that price here, post earnings, you want to see it hold and do that, and then it could be on its merry way again. But constructive for sure.
Cleveland Cliffs, CLF.
I like it. I think that they report. They're like about to report literally 2 days from now. These guys should be able to pay off like a lot of debt. So this could be a massive turnaround story. I think on earnings, does this move a lot? I don't actually know if this moves a lot. Yeah, it looks like it's a big earnings mover. So post earnings, I think you watch this. Generally speaking, you have to zoom out way far on this guy right here. And like, this is a fundamental type thing. So you need to pull up their transcript. I like it technically. I'm not going to go too deep into fundamentals. 9.25 right here off of this little area. A nice little retest. Small breach. We'll have to see. Still in this consolidation phase, but you would be looking for something like this. This is off like the steel super cycle. If you're bullish America, you can take a look at this. And we will see. Like again, you look at their peers like Nucor, STLD, similar industry, but the mechanics of their businesses work slightly different. So there is a steel super cycle. Here it is on the charts. The one that's not playing right here, right now is Cleveland Cliffs because of a lot of reasons, but most of their business structure having a mine itself. This is in a way a under the radar AI stock as well. So like pick and shovel of a pick and shovel of a pick and shovel from that perspective. I think like in the same way that a construction company could be an AI adjacent type company, this company specifically as well could be. For a lot of reasons.
Okay, we'll do like two more, then we'll do Bitcoin, ETH, and then we'll let Jason do his thing. Applied Digital.
I think, yeah, probably all of these are in a good space. Yeah. I would assume cores as well. So like right off this support. So like the Neo Clouds, some of these, I like this. Oh, July 27th. Yeah. So you got time here. I think you can make a big bounce on this. Holy moly. This is a very nice pick. Who asked for this one?
There's a decent amount of people that like this.
Oh, I was going to say, give him a
this
tip.
one,
You
this
can give
one
him
has
a
done
tip.
this one has done very well. I think when Jensen and NVIDIA sold out of it, it kind of got hit a few months ago, but nothing changed in their thesis.
Yeah, I would assume that we can go to cores. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is going to be very similar. That's perfect, man. So this is like picture perfect pullback retest. And now actually, so this is even better. So holding both these two areas over, we just need to get slightly over this for this continuation. If this goes any higher, let's call it over, what is that? Oh man, yeah, this is over 25. I like this one as well.
Or we were supposed to buy these guys a while ago. It didn't go through.
Yeah, I think I feel like this looks like it's gonna get to 26, maybe slightly under 27. Then if I see this pull back to 25 and a consolidation break, that's how this happens. But that's just near term because this is like 40 something, also like 45s on trend, like on just the basic trajectory of where it's been going, anyways. Like just a simple channel up, like yeah. I think I like this one of all the neo clouds, the cleanest, with the most time in front of it too. I'll give it. Did nobody ask for the Keel ticker? Are they over that now?
People have asked.
Oh yeah, no, I told them 4. I told this was the one I said it starts with a K, ends with an eel. Remember? No, it's in the transcript. I was actually talking about this one. I would always get the pings about this. It was 6 something. I'm like, it's 4. I don't know what to tell you. Like $4. And they didn't like that I would say that, but that is what it is, and that is what has happened. So from here, watch it. Any continuation from this level, specifically over 5s, yeah, you're on track. This one actually never broke, but they didn't like, people didn't like that it would be 50% lower. I would just challenge that with like, okay, take this for a second. You have a big break cup. How does the handle form? That's exactly how that happens. So you needed to be patient and you needed to wait for this. So from here, honestly, this can still go sideways. It's not my pick. I'm just saying it's low quality. But if you're going to go high beta, that is what you're actually, look, that's what you're looking for. Like we go back in the, this is why am I get so excited sometimes about the hoodie and maybe, yeah, I can come back because, what are we talking about here? We are talking about, remember this one here? Whoop. Look, you see it? Like it's not, I mean, it's great.
Okay, last few, then crypto, NVT.
NVT. Oh, that's energy. Yeah, I think you're, yeah. Well, so these guys are going to report. This is picks and shovels of GEV kind of thing. Componentry of yeah. I don't have it's just about, did they have a lot of pull forward? Yeah, you're good. I don't know that you ever weren't, right? Like this one at 153, this was, I mean, you're this kind of general consolidation. I think some stocks like this are going to be in a price discovery type mode. So, understand like what kind of valuation do we give this type of company? We'll have to see. So this gets into the 160s, mid 160s, probably before earnings. It's a little bit slower mover, but it's a good mover. Yeah, this is good to go.
Flex.
Yes, that's a good company, generally speaking. Just yes. Look at this. You want to know, like, where does the edge go? Go pull this earnings transcript. Why don't you figure it out? Yes. But this is systematically also. So this is the big, like, one earnings move. That's like the high, right? When earnings hits. This is a textbook kind of pullback from the earnings high after it broke just briefly. So over 120, whatever that is, 120, call it over 130. Yeah, she never left. So yes. And again, this is just another one of those like situations where, dude, if you were chasing it after earnings, probably fundamentally from a fundamental perspective, and then it drops 30% on you after that. I mean, dude, it's all good. Did anything actually happen to this chart? I mean, you tell me. Did anything actually happen to this chart? No. And that right there is what I'm talking about. Did we actually ever leave? This is rancid. Like, I mean, come on. What are we talking about right now? Like, what do you mean? No. So downside sure, $90, 100, like sub 100. If you can hold 120, it's all good, right? But you're here.
T1 Energy.
Oh, TE. I saw a couple of requests for that. My gut is that it's going to. So some of the energy moves are not really happening right now. I think energy will come next. I think so. This within around $5, I think is going to be perfectly fine. As this builds up, I think the theme of the market, the flavor of the week is picks and shovels of AI in terms of AI accelerators, not necessarily the raw material enablers, if this makes sense. The AI accelerant trades, like, do you immediately make AI better? Not do you exist to make sure that AI doesn't die, right? Like, so for those reasons, that's like top of mind for the market, where the market first goes. I don't think this trade is wrong. I think it's right. I don't know this company explicitly. Right here, right now, around 504, I think or between 540 to 5, basically just got there. I think this is fine. I think this is next. So, yes.
Okay, last one, and then we'll do Bitcoin ETH Bloom.
I think this is the same in terms of, like, look, you know, the short report live and well. One interesting point is that this is exactly where they reported earnings last. Their big breakout earnings. So anything over 230, I would say that the market is looking beyond the short report, and this is in fact on the mend. But we're literally on it right now. So Bloom is a watch. I think, you know, sub 190 is, you have earnings, and I think what you're going to see on something like Bloom is literally whoever was shorts based on that report covering their shorts right now. So and we get a lot of these pops into earnings just like this, and this is part of the mechanics of what create this pre-earnings run up from a price action perspective, is that if you're short coming into earnings and your short is working in your favor, do you really want to risk it? Really? As the closer that this gets, the answer should be decidedly no, especially if you caught a good short on something. And so for those reasons, mechanically, we see a lot of pre-earnings run-ups that may in fact be kind of fake near term, because what happens once the event is gone? Well, the shorts come back on and they come back and short the stock again. So, so for those reasons, I think this can actually do a little bit something like this. So you need to be cautious though that they don't come back in. But I think this over 230, which it's not yet, will look real good for a short squeeze candidate into earnings.
Okay. We will end it off with Bitcoin and ETH. If Jason has any tickers after that, he can show us anything he's looking at. But
I forgot.
Yeah,
I mean, what somebody mentioned. You like how I did that? Took too long, dude. I'm gonna tell you. About a channel. I don't even know if they were talking about Bloom or not, but I know that this channel exists. Look at this. This is like, that's where you want to be long, right? Like in these areas. And if it does happen, what I'm talking about is this. That is textbook, man. And I like this from a risk reward perspective, especially with the catalyst on deck, potential shorts covering before earnings actually hits. But then you want to get out of the way before earnings from a trading perspective. Like you don't want to hold through that. But with the setup into this, remember, easy money before earnings actually hits. It's after earnings reports that money becomes harder to make. Okay. You want Biddy or you want ETH?
So let's do Biddy first.
Biddy. Yeah, you're gonna see 70s.
We got Clarity Act August 7th deadlines as per Congress.
So you should be able to see mid 70s from here. That should happen. If it doesn't happen, man, oh man, is that sad. But you really at least should see mid 70s on Biddy. About August. You ever heard the term altcoin August? This is throwing me back here.
Is that a thing in August? Does it actually happen in August?
Yeah.
Altcoin August.
I mean, it might be one of my things, but I'm pretty sure it's a thing. Yeah, I have it. You know how I know? Is that I can pull up an old thumbnail like from the Wayback Machine. That's pretty old.
This is what, last year? Does that have to be last year?
Maybe before that. But yeah, seasonality. This is when you get a little pop. Little popski. Little popscaroonie. It's a bottom. Is it the bottom? I don't know. But you should be able to get it. As long as it's holding over 65. Yeah, that was kind of like that one pivot. One more time, like seeing like, do we get this is what I'm saying, like that quick liquidity grab where it kind of like fakes you out right in here. It's a nice high. I don't know that this is it, but I think the setup is into August like that. Did I make that? Yeah, I made it, but like years ago. Look, that's not even the only one. No, it's not a 1 year thing. Oh my goodness. Multiple years of thumbnails we have here.
Who are these people?
I don't know, but we have multiple years of thumbnails saying
You just use Getty images and put random people. Why is there a dog there?
Bro, I didn't know how old this is. I don't even know how to find out how 2024. It's 2024. Don't get on me.
But why is there a dog?
Rap thumbnails, you know. AI did not exist. I did my best. The Office. I don't Parks.
That's from The Office?
I don't even know.
Okay, so you like Bitcoin, ETH 3000. Do you think that's a
Yeah, so mind you, the thumbnail said altcoins. So I would like the higher beta here as well. Oh yeah, so yeah, ETH is beautiful. In fact. Yep. Yes to ETH. Yes.
which means yes to BMNR?
I don't know that it means that. The ETH does not have earnings. ETH is not, hedging its investments in Beast and Co. ETH is not doing anything else that BMNR is doing that has nothing to do with crypto. So
No, that's fair, but these guys.
No, it's not fair. It's not that it's everything, bro.
Bro,
It's
they own
literally everything.
5% of the asset. So if this thing's shooting up,
And they own a bunch of other stuff too now. So it's totally diluted.
But it's irrelevant compared to.
No, it's a hard no. You want leverage? I would go ETHU.
Yeah, I'm not making a directional opinion, short or long. I'm just saying it feels like that stock gets a move, just like MicroStrategy gets a move if Bitcoin gets back.
Yeah, I'm just saying, don't expect it to be a 1-to-1 parity. If you want actual parity,
it would be 2-to-1. It should be a lot better, to be honest.
This would be 2-to-1 technically. This would be a more technical 2-to-1. In fact, it would be an exact daily 2-to-1. I'm just saying, there's a lot of just no.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if ETH's at 3,000, BMNR is not at 17, MicroStrategy is not at 70. If Bitcoin's
I have no argument there. You want to do leverage on leverage. What is it? BMNU?
Oh, that's a different level.
Let's go. Let's go. Is it? We forgot that ticker existed. I just remembered.
Yeah, I remember now.
I feel like I would almost rather that. Because
let me ask you a question.
But BNY actually looks good. It looks just the same. Like, dude.
Do you think crypto outperforms the S&P 500 from here by the end of the year? So the S&P is up 10% year to date. I think ETH and Bitcoin are down.
No.
How much, guys? Like 15%?
I mean, I think, wait, so hold on. From here,
from 750 S&P, 66 Bitcoin, which one does better end of year?
I feel like crypto does better for the next 6 months. But if you ask me about a different specific index or anything like that, I would say not necessarily. I think that you always get a little bit of a bounce right here. And then come next year, then you find out what's real and what's not. Because, you know, you're setting up for a dead cat bounce. You have nothing but like new lows, especially on something like a BMNR. But it's a low, you know, to trade off of. And it can bounce significantly. But also, like, I can't say that we're going to expect new highs here. We're way too far away from that. But the distance between here and halfway to the old highs is substantial. Like, and that's tradable. So I from that perspective, yeah, I think you're fine. Like, so when I say no about BMNR, I'm not actually talking about the asset, to be fair. Like the asset BMNR, the ticker probably does go up, to your point. And I don't disagree with that at all. I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying don't mistake it for a one-to-one parity, because it's not. Right? I think this sees $20. I think if it gets over, call it 22, then you're in for a big bounce. Can you make money? Yeah, you can. But that's all I see. So, I mean, from that perspective, I'm just like, I've never been on the MSCR bandwagon. You know that. I've never been on the Sailor bandwagon. If I were to take a leverage bet at the time, like, yeah, when the BMNR hype was there, I have been on the BMNR bandwagon, but not for the same reason that other people were. Like, I don't think that the stable coin I think you're smoking the shisha, whatever, if you actually think stable coins are going to move the price of Ethereum. That is not how crypto works. Sorry. If you think that the Clarity Act is going to be, you know, anything but a sell the news event, I think you're sadly mistaken. Sorry. You can't project an event like that so broadly that when it and have all this anticipation and it not be a sell the news event. Like, just mechanically, it doesn't work that way. Like, I'm brought back to Take-Two Interactive and like GTA whatever being like the greatest thing since sliced bread. You know, it held the stock up for a long time, and it launched and it ripped. But right here, right now, this moment, it's not going higher anymore. And has this even released yet? But this is what I mean. Like, when you have a build up moment like that for so long, like, it has to be a sell the news event. So maybe even in this case, you go long circle for the pre-move.
Circle's actually pretty interesting if this Clarity Act does get passed, to be honest.
I would actually go along this route for a trade into, it would be buy the rumor, sell the news. Like, I think at this point you're mostly de-risked from this, but to hold through the news and think that it's going to continue, that is a different story. That's the same thing as being able to say we were going to get price action into an earnings report, and me saying that the easy money is buying the rumor, but if you want to hold through the actual news, that's not easy, and it's not a guaranteed anything. So I think from that perspective, yeah, not to be a Debbie Downer, I think they bounce. I think they bounce. I'm just not as interested in some of those. I think that you could do, what's crypto? Well, no, there's no more crypto miners. I was about to say.
Well, they all became
data
center.
What are they gonna do? Hold on. Wait.
Yeah, who's mining the Bitcoin now? Who's actually?
You're like,
you know?
Wait. We have to say, do they actually because the issue is like the IRENs or whatever are still to this day depreciating all of their BIDI assets, right? All the Bitcoin miners and ASICs, they're still depreciating those in large scale. What if they say we're not, and we're still going to mine for some
Well,
stuff?
some of them are still mining. Some of them are still mining the Bitcoin, just not as aggressively
Yeah.
as. It would be funny if they kind of came out and just said, we're selling all of our BTC because we're investing more in GPUs, and wouldn't be the best for Bitcoin, but it would be huge for the AI trade.
Imagine somebody says that. Like the epic, like pounding the crypto that would ensue.
Yeah. Okay, Jason's Twitter is right there. Please make sure to follow him. Jason, if you have any tickers that you're looking at or anything.
Well, I have a couple. I would say for crypto, one thing I'm actually kind of saving for, the day that Sailor sells or is liquidated, I'm going to buy the crap out of that dip. If that happens, that's one I want to be ready to buy. So, yeah, we're not there yet. So anyways, tickers. I like this a lot. Global Foundries. This one, just like the rest, one that we did not talk about. I mean, right into a lot of support. Literally, like from right here, this inception low to this all-time high. There's a lot of stuff going on in here. Can it like drop down a little bit? Yeah, it can. But I think coming into earnings, again, anybody short, you're going to see a lot of this covering. I think broadly speaking, I could take one paintbrush and say, listen, any of these that are down 40-something% with earnings right around the corner, what do you think is going to happen? The shorts are going to cover because they've had a great trade. And that process is going to create a lot of really big bounces. I mentioned AOI. I didn't really mention, I don't even know if I can, AXTI, this kind of stuff. Right off support, people that know this stock, that's really on the edge of what I can say in terms of actual, market cap. I think we got most of them. There are tickers that like we've talked about for a while that are starting to bounce. I think these are themes that have not exactly played out quickly or fully yet. Like this is still on track. I think we're very close to support. And there are some just really ridiculous kind of setups here, like this coming down on semi, similar coming into like earnings, having purchased Synaptics, which at this point I feel like Synaptics is a arbitrage play because this is not right. But anyways, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. If you want to play, the team has actually, if you go to our website, it's just papergains.com. The team started a bit of a portfolio challenge. So you just go to the top, it'll redirect you. There's this little thing that says portfolio, and they're testing it live right now. So they started out with weekly stuff. You can see what our team is trading at any given time. Congrats, Rach. She took the crown on the first founders round. Like it's just 1 week. And you can click like leaderboard at any given time. Hey, look, our boy, I think he's in the chat. Cool Whip is here. And a lot of your friends and people, we'll see. These are just kind of a portfolio challenge, not a draft, because we can have a lot of people pick them. But this is fun. It'll always be free. You can see, hey, like, what's the most popular pick? Not a big surprise. The crew, like my crew's picking NBIS, 20 out of 53 players. Pretty big move. Yeah, and I think, the biggest move, Cypher, here, you can see it pretty quickly, but you can drill into whoever. It's really cool. It's for fun. It's for free. But yeah, hop in there. Server's free. Come chat with the crew. We got a big week coming. I've been pretty busy, so we're gonna have August next month heading out to Amit's town, and we'll see how she goes.
I think he'll make an appearance on Basis Points, so it'll be fun.
Is that official? I don't know.
Yes, I will be giving you the schedule soon, but I'm pretty sure it's official.
Yeah, someone mentioned Entergist. Yeah, I like this. All of
what do you think about IBM here? You buying this here?
No, these are short forever. It's going to zero. I don't know what to tell you. Absolutely not.
Don't you think the worst is priced in at this
No.
point? It's down 45%. This is the worst drop in like 30 years.
Okay, can I just, so you guys know my history, and this is just a, it's just me. Like, if there's one stock that my crew knows I've never wanted to be long, like I will take every opportunity to short. It's been IBM. For literally since it was like over here. Granted, that had been the wrong call for a long time. I think that the new CEO is probably okay, but I don't think it's a technology thing. I think that the root cause is a culture piece at IBM. If you know anything about IBM, for 3 or 4 generations now, 3 generations, the CEOs have been internal recruits up through the ranks, right? And it's like the same thing over and over. In those last, 3 generations, the biggest thing that the current CEO did right around here was, they hacked off a dying company. Like, if you look at actual revenue, sorry, not earnings. So, and by hacking off a dying company, he did increase, I think, EPS, which is why the stock went up. But no, I would not do IBM. I think if I were to just revenue for, how do I go max? Look, revenue peaked in 2011 and has at 30 billion and is currently at 17 billion. EPS, this is more like financial kind of engineering. No, I don't think it's ready. I think there's too much stigma in the Valley. You'd have to know somebody in the Valley to actually have an opinion here. Personally, I do. And for those reasons, I think, respectfully.
Quantum's not enough a reason to get you in.
Quantum's too far away. I think quantum is nice, but like, I think realistically, and I posted something. I think realistically, no. So like here's a rant about IBM. And the biggest thing to me was that, like, when the IBM thing happened, and I was like with him, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna blow. It was Tuesday. I was like, I'm gonna blow a gasket on IBM, dude. And it was because, like, yeah. And by the way, I'm admitting this might be peak bearish, and maybe I call the bottom. Who knows? But it's not a software miss, and they were calling it a software miss at IBM. The software was the only like bright spot of the entire quarter, which, by the way, was Red Hat, not even IBM product, is acquisition. The current CEO basically got his job because he's the one that architected the Red Hat acquisition in itself, right? But his CEO was promoted by a lifer. His CEO was a lifer, promoted by a lifer, and he himself is a lifer. And I think that cultural shift is what has to happen for IBM, because it's not that they don't have the products. If you guys don't know, and I'm another rant here, I could shut up here quickly. They sell servers, they sell hardware, they sell everything that is blowing up right now in AI. It's not that they don't have these products, like, and they have a massive security arm. And I think my whole thing was like, they have something called storage scale specifically for AI. Specifically, they have a line called power servers, and they have they can sell whatever they want, right? They got an at bat. They had the opportunity. They just didn't swing the bat for whatever reason. That's not a product. That is a like a structural, I don't even know what you call it, right? Is it a fail from a go-to-market perspective? Yeah, it is. But it's not the first time that that's happened, right? Like, the biggest security like boom that the entire industry has ever had. Their best product called QRadar. If you don't know, you look this stuff up. They sold it off, right? It was their best possible asset. Again, ranting, probably too much. Is it at the lows? I don't know. Read the post. It's a real post.
We all got to buy calls on IBM now tomorrow, just because of Nathan's rant, and be like,
bearishness,
right? Bottom.
Yeah, it's very possible that I'm creating a bottom right now. right? Like I get that.
Dude,
But
if they fall another 10% tomorrow after a 40%, that's got to be the craziest 2-week stretch on a
the
stock.
thing is that like they basically removed themselves from any AI premium that the stock could have or would have had, right? They basically walked away from it, and they did that themselves. So I don't know that this is low. I don't know that. I'm not saying IBM's going bankrupt or any of that. I'm not saying any of that, but I am saying decidedly, like with the current leadership team, I think that that's not going to be good enough, because it's more of the same from a execution perspective. It becomes more of it's an execution thing. Watson itself, you want to talk about like quantum.
Yeah.
Watson's been on the playbook for IBM for how long? And by the way, they sold a lot of that for a loss. Like, okay, no, more of the same. So, and the Red Hat acquisition, which was supposed to be the one thing that came about and was the new growth driver for the company, has halved its growth rate since they bought it. It's still growing, but 5%. Like, okay.
Umbrella, you still like that one?
Yeah, actually, I think so. The problem. So I think this is like up and down at this price point. I think yes. The reason that this one for sure to me came down on the last earnings report is because they actually did not raise guidance. I think this remains like the purest edge play across the board. I think this and IoT become very, very interesting. Ticker IoT, Samsara. Like as this pulls back, maybe not literally right here, but these pullbacks, I think you watch. Ambarella did not raise guidance, so that's the issue, right? So if it was time for the edge right here, right now, you would think that the purest of the pure plays is going to raise guidance, and they didn't. So that's the one caveat that you're like, oh, okay. So maybe it shouldn't trade at the premium it was getting right away. But I think between now and then, the street's going to front run this and say, okay, well, maybe they didn't raise guidance on this last quarter, but maybe they do on the quarter coming. So from that perspective, yeah, I think this goes back towards the highs, which is a great trade.
And Apple, I'm assuming you still like right now.
Ooh, Apple. I mean, yeah, I think Apple was good. That trade is mostly complete here. Coming in earnings, I think this comes back and retests. I think Apple is a good one still for like selling premium, probably up here and down here. I think this is going to come back, retest 317 from reset, and that's about where we're going to land towards earnings. So selling some upside premium, I think, is honestly the best play on Apple specifically. So this one, while the market was taking a dumpster dive, this one essentially had a just face ripping kind of rally. I think what you're going to see right here, right now, is the market start to use Apple as its personal ATM in the very short term to fund some of those other AI type trades. And I think expect it, which means that this will pull back somewhere in here and potentially set up a little bit of a bounce one more time, just barely before earnings. But a pullback into 315, 317s, or even slightly below that. Yeah, it's available. I don't know how fast this moves though. But yeah, while this is off the highs, this is prime for some profit taking from a trading perspective, and taking some of those profits and allocating into your favorite kind of AI type plays.
Last one for you, Reddit. This thing got hammered.
Is this a personal? Is it a personal request? Only if it's a personal, like selfish request from you.
No, there's actually a bunch of people that typed it in.
Well, then I can't do it.
But I own it. I own Reddit. Like,
you have to say yes.
Okay, yes, it's a personal request.
Okay. So Amit wants Reddit.
This one's weird because advertising is fine, but this got smacked from 205 to 180. I'm like, is it just high beta? I don't know.
Yeah. So as it's literally on it, it's on the level right now. So at like 179, it's actually okay. It's good. It might be a retest. So that was support before. This is resistance. This whole thing was resistance. And then you get the break, right? Like a big kind of squeeze, like a short squeeze. It's a single day. That's a short squeeze, right? Shorts have covered. Any short that was left in here that didn't have a chance to cover, essentially is getting that chance right now. And that's what you're seeing. So from a technical perspective, this sets up as a long again into the end of the month. If this is over 200, which is your current resistance area, yeah, this is looking like one move, two move. The reason I can't say 225 like right here, right now, is that like I don't know that it doesn't do this, and then you still have sellers to do this. But by that point in time, because we don't know, you're very likely close to earnings. So I think the run back up into 200 is very, as long as it's over today's low, it's basically happening. Like it's a foregone conclusion here. As long as it holds this actual relative low. So from a trading perspective, this is actually a good setup to go long. We'll have to see if this can get how long. All I'm talking about is this. It has the potential to do something like this though. And if it can get through that 225, you got a banger on your hands. But I think that whole thing probably is also a process, maybe similar to Hood, because that would essentially kind of set you up for this. But yeah, this looks really constructive, man. As long as it's holding this 180, it's reclaimed. If it doesn't, then support is in that 155 area, 150 area right here, which I think you could probably pick it up again. But yeah, this looks like it's got potential. It's a heavy watch.
RKLB, 8% after hours. Big move.
Baby.
Big move right here.
Oh, baby. This is like my last trade that I took, dude. This in AAOI. I'm like, all right. Ready to roll. Space Crew. It was a good spot. It was a good technical spot.
Agreed. Oh, you're right.
Like a very good technical spot. And Jay, the rotation has started again. Buy semi, sell software. This is the funny part. Think about back to what I was saying. I think that we're seeing it right here, right now. Buy semi, sell software. But in this market, in this generation, things move so fast that the second that you realize the rotation is happening, you're probably late. So tomorrow, everybody's going to wake up and they're going to be like, oh, the rotation is sell software, buy semis. But by the time they actually execute, it might be sell semis, buy software. Because like part of what I'm saying is like a lot of this is precedented on Google and what they say about CapEx and the Mag 7 to come. And between that and a lot of these other smaller companies about to report right after them, those companies are down 30, 40, 50%, right? You're a hedge fund. Imagine for a second. You're up 40% on an epic short. The company's about to report earnings. You have Google coming in hot saying that they're going to be increasing CapEx. What do you think a hedge fund is going to do? It will be a systematic mechanical short covering like that was setting up again. But is it real? That's a different story. I think after those companies start to report, we'll probably separate the, for lack of a better saying, the wheat from the chaff. Isn't it? Is that the same? Wheat from the chaff? But, you know, some will do well. Some will not do well. Not every company is going to be a winner. You have to be very cautious on quality here. But I think in the near term, you're probably good for a bit of a bounce.
All right. Jason, thank you so much. His Twitter and YouTube, putting it in the chat. If you want to get access to more of his stuff.
If they like any of this stuff, also like just join the server. We give you a bunch of free lessons. We run a school. That's probably the best part of it. But if you jump in, the idea is take some lessons for free, get some value for free, make some money on us, and ideally, the progression from there is like, yeah, we'll continue our education with the school. It's just papergains.com. I don't know what that link is. Oh, that's a link tree. It's all good.
I will link that, papergains.com, if you want to join that server as well.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back with the market open tomorrow. We got Tesla and Googs tomorrow. There'll be some big ones.
Hey, so I got my soundboard working now. Can we do a sound effect?
Go for it.
Is that
Dude.
gonna work?
I like it.
That's the sign off, right?
Yeah, I need to hook my soundboard up again because you can't overuse it, but when there's a right moment, it hits, and you just have to have it ready. So
Yeah, then you can do the auto. What do they do whenever you curse, your guest curse, and you're like, son of, I don't want to hear him talking or whatever, right?
there.
Yeah, or like somebody says something, you're like, you want to do a double take, like, what? Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Appreciate you all. Thank you, Jason. We'll see you back
Adios.
next week. See you
Later.
tomorrow morning.
Peace.
Bye, everyone.